All right, so you guys are heading back, right? You're heading back to your ship, I assume.
Yeah, that would probably be the best bet.
Pretty sure.
Unless our
Making,
Spectre has other ideas.
making your way back after your diplomatic success on Gremal.
Yeah, so far. I mean, this is the first step. The hard work has got to be done by them.
Indeed.
Asari for the win. Well done.
And as you arrive back at your ship, you find that it has sunk a little bit into the moist ground, and there are some vines that are entangling the Saratoga.
Already. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised.
Actually, it is quite surprising. It's rather unusual that this amount of plant life could have grown over the ship in so short a time.
I mean, out of character, I'm not surprised. In character, Arturo's just like, what the hell?
David immediately got his hands on the side of his head with that look of, my baby, no!
Oh no.
Lucille just tips her head to the side. Huh. That's gonna be fun.
What the fuck?
Aryn will like calm to the ship, saying, "Saratoga status report."
Adam says, there's gross shit all over me.
Damn it, Adam.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Well,
Better question. Is it preventing you from leaving?
can we give the VTOL thrusters a tap?
Yeah, can you, like...
But to lift up.
All right. And the liftoff thrusters go, which is they would be like along the bottom to pull it up to an altitude where it can take off. And as the ship tries to rise up, the plants actually seem to double down. You hear like metal groaning as the vines actually like visibly thicken and grasp onto the Saratoga to not let it leave the ground.
Oh,
That is
lovely.
an issue.
Aryn will chime Dr. Fay and say, Dr. Fay, your insight into this plant life would be appreciated.
She's already on it. Yeah. Dr. Faye Bryson is over on one knee. She's got her bag open and she's pulling things out. And she immediately like takes a sample and puts it in a little capsule and starts to analyze it. Okay. I haven't seen this exact species, but it is similar to something I've encountered. Do we have anything cold?
Cold?
I have my spell.
You got cryoblast?
No, I have elemental.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Elemental projectile.
Says Faye. And Dr. Faye gets out like a little lighter and puts the flame of her lighter up to the vine, and the vine actually grows thicker and longer. And she says this is why the thrusters made it react that way.
Got it.
I have ice field.
It likes heat.
Ice field would probably be great. I think it's worth a try if you've got...
I didn't mean to do that.
Well, then you didn't do it. Okay. Yeah, the thing doesn't have a dex save. It's just on the ship. Is that a 60-foot radius? How big is this thing?
Cone.
It's a cone. 60-foot cone. That's still a big cone. Okay, yeah. So Ray,
cone of cold.
using your Omni tool, you unleash a giant 60-foot cone of frigid air, and the vines shrivel up and they shrink away, and you actually hear the plants make a kind of horrible like shrieking noise as they retract from the Saratoga and retreat into the tree line.
Well, I recommend we take off before they have time to regroup.
I agree.
If that is something they're doing.
It's hard to tell. They're kind of plants, but yeah. Adam agrees and says, I'd really like to get off this shithole now, please.
Yep, away team's ready to re-embark.
Would we have to have the most vulgar AI in existence?
I think it goes without saying that any
Of course,
further
he's
travel on this planet, we're just basically gonna have to like drop off and keep the ship off the ground.
Not if Ray can handle that.
Well, let's get on board and prepare for takeoff.
All right. Yeah, you climb on board the Saratoga. Right away, Adam, as soon as you guys are on board, he starts to hover off the ground and try to get to an altitude where the forest won't try to eat him again.
So now what?
Well, now we go make the pickup and transfer if we can. Ray, I'd like to stay in dark mode unless we need to transit a mass relay.
Easy enough. And Ray will run to the engine room.
This is at least until we've completed this this drop off and gotten well clear of it.
Do we want to run past a few other planets just to make sure our tracks are covered at this point?
I think that's a good idea. Collect some info on a few more planets in the area and then start making our way towards ODR 7. Hopefully the Alliance can handle the transfer, because we can't carry too many Rachni on our ship.
Dr. Fay confirms, yeah, they'll be handling the transfer.
Alright then, now I just have to convince the Alliance commanders to send some infrastructure support down to the planet. Hopefully that'll be a sign of good faith.
might be. Are we still going to the Rachni Queen to let her know? Because it might be in our best interest if she heard what's about to happen from us.
Yes. Thing is, we won't be able to send any electronic communications to the Alliance or to the Queen. We'll need to make any contacts face to face, unless we can manage it biotically.
If we get in range, you can send a shortwave over to her, I'm sure, but I'm not sure the Alliance is going to have strong enough receivers.
We'll see. Let's get there first and then see what we can manage from there.
All right, well, Dr. Faye Bryson takes a seat in the main, like, kind of hangout area.
And David, no need for our pathing to be elusive while we're still in council space.
Okay, not a problem. Scenic route not being taken. Understood.
And set us on course for ODR 7. Let engineering know when we need to send transit info to the mass relays. Otherwise, communications are still going to be dark.
Got it. I'll ping Ray to let her know.
All right.
Okay. And that is what I'll be doing.
And Aryn will step over to Dr. Faye and say, "Well, what do you think? Is this going to work?"
I think it'll work fine for the Rachni. and I'm hopeful it will be safe for the humans on that planet that side with them.
Well, if nothing else, it's a good way for the Queen to learn how to coexist, which would prepare them for life in galactic society eventually.
I think you've almost certainly started a war, but a small-scale planetary one.
I'll take
And
that over. I'll take that over a new Rachni uprising.
It'll probably
That
be
war
over
was
pretty
already
quick.
ongoing.
Well, those people down there have been at war for a long time.
My hope, says Dr. Bryson, grim as it may sound, is that the Rachni present a complete enough threat that whatever conflict occurs is fast and brutal, and that their enemies realize that they have no hope of winning quickly. The worst case scenario would be something drawn out.
I agree. It's going to be up to them to manage, though. Once we've dropped them off and made our way out, it's out of our hands. I'm hopeful. Well, anyway, thank you very much for your insights.
Of course.
And Aryn will actually give a chime on Eon's door.
Hello?
May I come in?
Sure thing, come on in.
How are you holding up?
Everything seems to be happening so quickly, it's taking some time to adjust, but overall, I'm having a fantastic time.
Yes, I know our people are not... we're not genetically accustomed to things happening rapidly, but you get used to it. You did a great job, by the way. Your help was instrumental in making sure all of that worked down there.
There's a knock on the door.
Hello? Seems like everyone wants to visit right now.
It's a party.
Do you open the door or say hello through it?
I say hello through it.
Okay. It's Quincy. She says,
Yeah,
"Hey, do you want to hang out?"
Well, right now doesn't seem like a good time.
And Aryn will hold a hand up and say, I don't want to keep you from any appointments or engagements you might have. I just wanted to make sure we had time to practice melding at some point.
When Quincy hears Aaron's voice through the door, she is like, Captain!" Almost drops like a bottle of wine she had. I'll come back later. Sorry to bother you.
No, that's quite all right. I was on my way out.
Well, I was just about to say the same thing. I think that we definitely need to practice sometime soon. We haven't had the time to do that yet.
Well, I'll be in my quarters until we arrive at our next destination. You can come find me if you have the time.
Will do, Captain. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and Aryn will retire to her quarters and leave
Quincy, well, as you pass Quincy, she's just very awkward. Like, all right, cool.
Oh, Aryn will like give Quincy like an encouraging pat on the shoulder as she passes by, with like a smile and a nod.
Yeah, she'll slip in and be like, "Hey, you ever tried wine?"
I can't say specifically. I have had.
I feel like the Asari drinking age is
wine,
like
though.
120, isn't it?
Uh-oh.
No,
Uh-oh.
they don't have a drinking age. What am I talking about?
I mean, they probably do. If we were talking about the necessities of biology, it's probably a bad idea for them to be drinking it before they're even considered adults.
Pre brain development.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
No.
biologically she's an adult.
Yeah. If Liara was,
Yeah.
No, I haven't had wine.
Well, she's gonna pour some wine for you to try, and Quincy basically wants to just hang out, chat. I don't know, maybe meld again. Have a good time.
Sure, I'll make some time for Quincy before we do a group melding practice.
All right. Anyway, in the meantime, you guys are headed to ODR 7. You take kind of a circuitous route, enabling communications only for relays.
Hopefully, that gives us enough time to rest.
Indeed, you definitely have plenty of time to rest.
Okay. Do we get a long rest?
If you want one, you can, but because you're mainly using mass relays, you'd only have time for a long rest if you go out of your way for it.
Does anybody particularly need one?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
It would be a short
No.
rest otherwise.
All right.
I
think
can't
we-
see any reason why I
I
would.
think we're
need
good with
one.
a short rest and a direct route.
You arrive back at ODR 7 for the first time in a while. So as you come out of FTL, you find that ODR 7 is still surrounded by an Alliance fleet. It's actually gotten a few more ships in the interim, just to be safe.
Okay.
And your communications are down, right?
Yes. So Aryn would actually ask Lucille, do Alliance ships have a secondary protocol if primary communications are down? Some kind of flashing signals or anything like that?
There should be, given that spaceships malfunction. And that would be, she turns to the GM because for military information, it's absolutely just a person.
Yeah. It stands to reason that you could flash your lights at them, do like Morse code.
There'd be a protocol in place. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Send the who was the one in charge? Of the
It was General. I remember it was a general because ODR 7
General
used.
Richter, wasn't it?
Yes, because ODR 7 used to be on the ground before
Right,
it
okay.
was put in orbit, so it's oddly a general and not an admiral.
No
but
worries.
yeah,
So yeah, she'll say signal. Yeah, well, then let's use that to signal the general ship. Just report comms down. Request meeting.
Heads up to the cockpit and relays that through proper tech.
all right. It takes a while because it's Morse code,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
that's very time consuming. But eventually, yeah. I mean, the first thing you do per protocol is you just flash your lights at them in a sequence that says, "I'm trying to convey something to you with lights," basically.
Mm-hmm.
So that you confirm someone's actually watching, or you'll be wasting your time. Eventually, you do get them flashing a light back in basically like, yes, okay, we are watching now, so that you can start conveying the information. And the message that you get sent back is just come dock and meet with me, basically. They indicate which of the docks on the general ship that you should link up with.
All right, Helm, make it so.
All right, yeah, you guys pull in, and you're able to line your airlock up carefully with one of the ports in the side of his ship, which is quite a bit bigger than the Saratoga.
Mhm.
And once the airlocks are linked up, it vents the vacuum, and the atmosphere links up, and all the doors, like in a sequence, open so that you can step on board the Alliance vessel, where General Richter is waiting for you.
Okay. Yep. Aryn will head that direction.
He's waiting
All in
in
the
the
basket.
hall with a couple of soldiers and says, "Spectre, I don't think we've met in person before."
No, we haven't. Pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry for the unorthodox communications method. We've had to take our communications array down for the time being.
That's fine. And when you say "pleasure to meet you," he just kind of nods and grunts, and
Mhm.
he'll lead you to a conference room. You made a choice back here on ODR 7, and there have been some consequences that you should be aware of.
Please, go ahead.
First of all, we have had no communication with the Rachni on board ODR 7. They have jammed any signal, any attempt to send any message to them. Occasionally, they will send us something, just that they want to see you in person. They refuse to communicate about anything else. This has prevented us from retrieving the bodies of all of the Alliance soldiers that were killed by the Rachni when they went wild on that station. From visuals of windows on the station, bodies that were visible in hallways or against windows are no longer there, which leads me to believe the Rachni have collected them for some reason. They won't talk to us.
I'd be happy to meet with them and request on your behalf that the bodies be returned to the Alliance.
Assuming they're still intact.
I'll do what I can.
We were going to be sending them food supplies and the like, but as I said, they won't communicate with us, so we can't safely approach the station.
Do you have a plan for how to transport them when they're ready for it? We have found a suitable planet to relocate them.
We do. First of all, we've got a frigate here big enough to tether the station to. We're just going to pull ODR 7 to the new planet.
I think that'll work.
Yeah, I mean, it's space. This is me out of character, but like, it's space.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter how big it is, right? Nothing has weight.
Yeah, once you get moving,
So-
it has
Yeah.
inertia.
Yeah, they're just gonna
The,
tow it over
the-
there.
the issue is whether or not they could stop it moving when they get there.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard, but they have a lot of
I'm
ships, so
assuming they have a plan. So
yeah.
A ship on each direction.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do it.
Yeah, one ship at the front and like 10 at the back to stop it,
Exactly.
basically. Yeah. So, tell me about this planet you've found.
well, it's got a very rich biosphere. It's the best candidate we could find for them. The drawback is that there is an illegal human colony down there that is not on the books, not on the grid, has not been in communication with the Alliance for some time. I think they actually have somewhat rejected the Alliance, so we don't need to worry about them coming to us for aid. However, their infrastructure is badly out of date, and as a show of good faith, I think they could do with some modernization. But they have at least agreed to do their best to live in harmony with the Rachni, and I think it would be a good exercise for them to learn to cohabilitate on a small scale before learning how to do it on a galactic level.
live in harmony? You chose an inhabited planet?
The alternatives were a planet that they would overpopulate and have to be relocated from again in the very near future, or a planet that would cause them to grow up with violent tendencies in order to survive. This seemed like the best option and a good way for them to get acquainted with peaceful negotiation rather than violent conflict.
And what happens if they kill everybody on that planet?
And it is unfortunate, but the colonists there have been cut off, for the most part, from the rest of the galaxy for a long time. If I hadn't told anyone about them, it's likely the Alliance would not have even missed them. Not that I'm condoning that. I don't want that to happen. I'd like the Ragnar to be able to live in peace with them.
A few of the soldiers look a little bit shocked. And General Richter says kind of grimly, "You Spectre types don't put a lot of value in human life, do you?" And a little renegade star pops up on your screen. He's like, "You're gambling with these people. You know that, right?" Far be it from... I won't object. You're right. They aren't supposed to be on that planet. I don't have the means for an evacuation of that scale or anywhere to put them either. But if those people die, that blood is on your hands.
I know. But I do trust the Queen to act violently only as a last resort and only in self-defense. And I'll make sure to reiterate that to her when I talk with her. I'll do everything I can to keep all lives involved as safe as possible.
Can you do that? How long are you going to stick around?
I can only make the introductions. What happens in the long term is up to them. But I do think a modernization of their infrastructure and commercial technology would go a long way towards easing tensions down there. They don't have modern technology. They are in conflict over resources.
Are you requisitioning supplies for these people?
Not officially, but I'm politely requesting that whatever can be offered, be offered. They're your colonists, so I'll leave you to deal with them as you wish, as you will, but I'm just suggesting what I think would be the best course of action for them.
If they rejected Alliance authority and chose to stay on that planet of their own accord, then they aren't our colonists. They're not any different than the people living in Terminus space.
Oh, a moment ago it seemed to me like you were actually concerned about what happened to them.
I was surprised at your callousness with life. The fact of the matter remains, I also said I wouldn't object.
Aryn will give a nod. All right then, I'll take it.
But I can't give them anything. They aren't Alliance citizens. You're unwilling to make an official request. If you had, the Council might have pushed something through, but I can't do something pro bono for you under the table. That's not the type of man I am.
Making an official request would risk putting this planet on the map.
It would, which is why I'm afraid that your humans on this planet are going to have to make do with what they have. Maybe the Rachni will help them innovate.
Life is hard for those people down there.
Yes, I'm sure unleashing a race of violent bug creatures is going to make it much easier for them. I see how concerned you are for their well-being.
What if I made an official request for equipment for my own, my team's own use, but it just somehow managed to find its way to that colony? I don't think anyone would know the difference.
As long as you go through the official channels, it's fine. I can forward your requisition to the council from here.
I'd appreciate that.
All right. And he'll just slide over, like, I don't know, a Mass Effect iPad for you to, like, make a list of what you need. It's probably like a blue holographic rectangle with like a metal thing on one side. You know what I'm talking, but it's a fucking tablet.
Yeah.
It's a tricorder.
I'll take this to my my engineer. She has a better idea of what kind of technology is needed down there, and she'll be able to make a more complete list.
You should also make a point to go meet with the Queen. She's been requesting your presence almost non-stop since you left.
That is next on my list. If I can use your communicator, I'll send them a message to let them know that we're here, and I'm eager to see her again.
As I said, they aren't accepting communications, but they've kept a dock open.
That'll do then. She'll hold up the pad and say, "I'll have my engineer get this back to you within the hour."
Understood.
I know things are tense right now. I'm not sure how it's going to end up either. I just am hoping for the best and doing my best to set us on that course.
You've chosen Rachni lives over human lives. And he says that, like, not as though... He says it very, like, matter-of-factly. Like, there isn't actually that much judgment in it, as you'd expect. He's more just, like, observing. Like, he's saying it as though he thinks maybe you didn't, like, put that together, and he just wants you to realize what you're doing. But he doesn't seem to be, like, terribly offended, because, as he said, those people, he doesn't consider them to be, like, his people anymore. But he's, I don't know. He's just, like, pointing out that he's kind of surprised that you would do this.
Mm-hmm. Well, she'll clarify to say, "I'm thinking long term."
Fair enough.
All right, I'll head back to the ship.
Dr. Bryson follows you. She didn't say a word during the meeting. She looks pensive. When you start to get back to the Saratoga, she finally says something. She finally says, kind of under her breath, "Did we make the right choice?"
I think so. Even if it does cost the lives of the colonists, we've still given the Rachni the best environment for long-term peace. Either of the other planets might have put them on a more aggressive path.
She just kind of goes quiet.
Sorry, it's my people's nature to think long-term. Even though I know our term is much longer than many others. Alright. First thing when I get back is I'm going to check in with Ray. Ray, I've got a job for you.
Ray turns around. Another one?
Yes, and she'll hand Ray the data pad and say, "I need you to make a record of any infrastructure improvements you think the colonists could benefit from, non-military nature. I would need to have a list for the general so that we can make an official requisition."
Okay, are we talking all 2 million or just the town we came across?
The more they have to spread around, the less they have to fight over.
Alright, so long-term supplies, knowledge, maybe seeds or something along that line that they could spread around and recreate themselves would be okay then?
Mm-hmm. Also, technological infrastructure updates. Their tools seemed vastly out of date.
Okay, I'll have to access the Saratoga's record on humanity so I can see exactly where they are so I can do comparative and don't give them any redundant items, but I will.
Understood.
Ray will go to the AI core so she can discuss that with Adam.
All right. Aryn's gonna head back to the airlock and send a message to Shepard. XO, ODR7 has an open docking port for us. If we can approach and dock, I need to disembark and have a word with the Queen.
Understood. And he will make his way up.
Take us in, David.
What was that, Rocky?
What was that?
Nothing.
But when I said XO, I was talking to Shepard.
Yes, that's the joke.
Oh.
Felix Ways overhears you and rushes to go get in the seat.
Oh yeah, because I guess she is hiding behind. Yeah, no. So yeah, she'll just kind of look over. Hi there. What you doing?
Oh well. Oh, that's right. You're the XO. My mistake. Old habit.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mr. Moreau, take us in. She says, pointedly looking at him.
Yep, you got it there. You got it there, XO. Where he starts doing so.
You pull in and dock with ODR7.
Aryn wants to make sure she's the first thing that is seen.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh,
When the airlock opens, the hallway ahead of you is covered in kind of fleshy, chitinous growth. And there are like bulbous egg sacs hanging from the ceiling.
this place is grosser than I remember.
I think I have this movie somewhere in my library.
Are you talking about aliens?
Yeah, yes!
While seeing this, Aryn's gonna calm privately to Shepard. Shepard, comm check.
Check, Captain.
Yep, you've got short-range comms up with your team.
Out of an abundance of caution, if things do go poorly in here, please have a team ready to come in and back me up.
I'll have the ground crew waiting at the airlock. You signal, we'll come.
Thanks. And
Alerts everybody to get ready.
are there any Rachni in sight?
You don't see any, but you hear something coming down the hall, and it sounds big. You hear like big, heavy stomping.
I'll hold my ground and let it come to me.
You see this thing come around the corner.
Oh, what the hell?
It looks like parts of it are similar to arachni, but its biology is very different. It's pretty big too. Its back is like eye level for you, and it comes charging down the hall and stops right in front of you, and then it puts its head to the floor as though inviting you to mount it.
The fuck?
Aryn will reach down and kind of give its head a gentle pat, and she'll climb on its back, being very mindful of that sharp tail pointed at the back of her head.
Yeah.
And she'll hold on for dear life.
Yeah, it starts to charge down the hall with you in tow. As this thing is running you through ODR7, you find the facility is completely overrun with this like alien growth. And you see some normal Rachni, but you see a lot of Rachni that seem to be like almost normal, but with a few mutations. You see like a Rachni with a few extra limbs, or a Rachni that's like especially bulky. And many of these are actually corpses as well. You see a lot of like dead Rachni that hatched with various mutations and then couldn't survive.
While we're going, Aryn will she'll keep an open channel with Shepard and say send Dr. Faye in with the team for analysis of some new developments in here. She'll know what I'm talking about.
Does-
She'll
do you
know it
want
when she
us to
sees
head-
it.
Do you want us to head now? Because that was some loud stomping out there.
I'm fine. I'm just being escorted to my audience. Just outside the airlock is should be enough for her to analyze. I just need to know what's going on here.
Okay. She'll head out to the galley where Bryson's been sitting. Doc, if you wouldn't mind coming with me to the airlock, Aryn would like you to take a quick look at what's been going on just outside. We aren't going to go much farther than that, though. If you wouldn't mind bringing some equipment.
All right, I don't mind. As long as I have people to protect me in case something happens.
I'll be at your shoulder.
Ray will send Tasty out with her so she can do some data analysis of her own.
All right.
Hey, Kronk, you want to come stand outside for a couple minutes?
I don't know. Are we afraid that the humans will see me?
We're not
I'm
there
afraid
anymore.
I'm afraid that the bugs will see us. So
Yeah,
we're gonna stay
Kronk,
nice and close to the ship until Aryn gives a yell, and then we're all gonna go running.
Kronk will come outside.
All right. Well, you're all standing. Do you guys like go out the airlock? You go stand in the hall.
Yeah, just outside, close enough for her to be able to see what's going on and get some readings, but not any farther to elicit. If stuff starts making loud noises, we're stopping. That's what I'm saying.
Dr. Bryson gasps when she sees the state of the facility. She starts to examine some of the pods and what's covering the walls. And over the comm, she says, so Aryn can hear as well, she says, I think the Queen has been experimenting. This is a cloning facility with very sophisticated technology, and it's still working. What's happening here looks like she's been doing rapid generational tests, going through hundreds of generations of Rachni to produce new shapes and sizes. But to be able to do this so quickly, I don't know. Some of what I'm seeing here is well beyond what my team and I could have accomplished. I did not expect. I didn't expect her to be able to. She's accomplishing things here that an entire team of scientists with multiple doctorates would struggle to touch the surface of what she's been doing. She's very intelligent, much more than we could have expected.
Coming from you, Doctor, that's terrifying.
For better or worse.
As the creature you're riding rounds the corner, it brings you into a large, wide open chamber. In the chamber are two of these creatures, towering about 20 feet tall.
Goodness.
God.
One on either side of the chamber.
Beautiful.
They're
Oh.
positioned almost like royal guards.
I don't like its face.
Well, this is definitely going to be a surprise for the colonists. This is not what they saw in the meld.
And these two giant creatures look at you, and then each of them sends a tendril out to press two buttons synchronized to cause a pair of metal doors to slowly start to open. And your mount kind of crouches down so that you can get off.
Aryn will slide off, doing her best to keep a poker face up, but her heart is kind of pounding. And she'll proceed through the doors. She's keeping her comm channel like open, so every sound that is around her is going through it.
This thing's face is almost human.
I'm starting.
Boy,
I should
it
have.
sure is,
starting-
isn't it?
Oh no, I was right.
Not
Kronk is
a
wearing
good
an absolute
sign.
shit-eating grin looking at these things.
I'm starting to think I should have just came along as moral support for this meeting, but that just sounds like a whole bunch of nope.
You enter the dark chamber, and then lights start to come on. And the chamber is filled with eggs and cloning equipment, huge tanks and pipes and machines whirring away. And you see the shape of something almost humanoid with tons of limbs. And each limb is typing on a keyboard like lightning fast. She's doing the work of like 20 scientists simultaneously with her body. And at the same time, without even stopping her work, she turns her head and says, "Oh, it's so good to see you again.
Oh no.
We have been making great strides. Do you like it? I modeled my new form after you."
I knew she had interest in you.
I love this so much. Hyper-adaptive hive mind alien species are one of my favorite tropes.
Oh no.
This facility is so sophisticated. It took a while to get the hang of it, but the things I've been able to do with my children, it's freeing.
You definitely seem to have made great strides. Hopefully the isolation hasn't been too taxing.
No, I've been productive in my loneliness, but we do miss you.
I've missed you as well. I'm sorry it took me so long to come back. Galaxy in danger and all that. So many things going on.
Yes, of course.
But the
We
good news-
are
sorry, good.
preparing to help you with that. The danger, I mean. We've
Oh?
been innovating. When the time comes, we will be a great threat to your enemies.
Well, that's good. I've been working on your behalf as well. I have found a planet for you.
That is wonderful news. We had hoped that this peace would last. After all, it would be a great waste of biomass to have to use our new weapons on the Alliance.
Alright, as someone who mains Tyranids in Warhammer 40k, we should really just blow this fucking space station up. I'm just saying.
No,
No.
I love this so much.
I don't want to get rid of this though.
Cultivating a powerful ally here, if nothing else.
I
no.
do. I will say this: after we get her to leave the station and go planet side, I think then we should blow it up.
The station or the planet?
The station. I almost said the planet on accident.
Well,
Yeah, who wants to tell her she doesn't get to keep her toys when she goes to her new house?
Aryn,
We can let her keep what she's already made.
well, it is my hope that you may eventually be able to coexist with galactic society in a non-confrontational way. You did say you were willing to give peace a chance.
We are. Peace is very efficient. I don't want to waste my young on unnecessary wars, especially since you're going to need a lot of help from us, aren't you?
Yes, I expect I will.
We will be ready.
There's one thing you should know. The planet is not uninhabited. There are humans there that are willing to give coexistence a try. They have been divided, singing different songs, as you would say, and cannot agree on which song is right. And that has caused conflict between them.
We would be more than happy to bring them into our song. Humans have been excellent biomass for our evolution.
No, that is not what I mean. I wanted this to be a chance for you to learn to coexist with other species and other cultures.
We are coexisting.
That
She
does,
motions, and one of the big, like 20-foot guards comes in, and she says, "Its mind sings a symphony of all of its past. It knows how to be a guard because it was one. It's fulfilling its purpose, and it feels unbridled joy every moment that it does so."
I'm very glad, but coexisting is different than integration. Coexisting means to learn to accept each other's differences.
Of course, differences are the point.
Is this a mental thing, or is she speaking verbally?
She's actually speaking verbally this time. She has a mouth.
Then all of this is being piped in through our comms, because
Yes, it is. Yeah.
so at least I won't have to
I've got,
repeat this whole encounter to everybody.
You know,
I'm just
I don't really hate to
uncomfortable
say I
noises.
told y'all so. I freaking told y'all so.
Mhm.
They're fucking monsters, man. I knew it.
Not to worry. I can sense your concern. We would never kill a human unprovoked. It's just the ones that were already dead are incredibly useful. And we're excited to coexist with a human population because humans, they tend to die very quickly, relatively speaking, which means a lot of very useful biomass for us, and no one gets hurt.
As long as you are not the ones killing
Mhm.
them. One thing you should know about humans, and many species in the galaxy actually, they are sentimental about their dead. They believe that to, well, I don't know what the right word is, but to do things with the dead is a disrespect to them. I'm not saying that is the truth. That is just what many people of the galaxy feel.
Don't worry, we're well aware of that. I've versed myself on many cultures. You know, these databases are still connected. There's a plethora of information here. I've read all of it twice.
Well, I'm glad you've had the opportunity to learn, but that is
We'll practice tact. I just assumed that you would understand us, so I'm being open.
I do understand. However, the Alliance is not happy with what you've done with their looks at the gardens as biomass.
Yes, I started experimenting on them before I had finished my reading. I do regret that.
But you do understand moving forward?
Of course, they bury their dead, yes? It will be very easy to extract those corpses subterraneously without them realizing.
That would be a betrayal of trust.
They won't know, so why does that matter? It's efficient.
Did your research come across the word integrity?
It's an abstract concept, used to gauge whether working with another is worthwhile. However, it's based on information that you have. If you lack information about another, you cannot make judgments on their integrity based on what you do not know. Therefore, our relationship will remain sound.
What they don't know won't hurt them.
But if they do find out,
That
could
will have
harm
been a
relations.
failing on my part.
There is plenty of biomass on this planet without having to resort to the humans.
We are looking forward to sampling it as well. The humans will benefit greatly from our presence. Do not worry. It will not be a one-sided arrangement. If it means anything to you, I will receive consent from their leaders instead of subverting them.
That would be greatly appreciated.
What we
Consent
can
is the king.
offer, I do not imagine their leader will be able to refuse, so it should be a short matter.
Well, if they do refuse, though, their wishes are to be respected. Every species in the galaxy has a right to free will.
If it is that meaningful to you, then we shall not resort to deception, although it is a very efficient way to manage expectations and a relationship between different cultures.
Yes, deception is frowned upon when it comes to diplomacy. I wish I could be there to help make sure things go smoothly, but I cannot stay for a very long time, I'm afraid.
This we also know. It saddens us, but you have responsibilities. Also, you must put a stop to this thing. We are growing very tired of the nightmares.
I've heard about the nightmares. My people have been having them as well.
This new body, it was evolved after much trial and error. My biotic powers are many times what they were before, but ever since I took it on, I've been experiencing terribly frustrating nightmares. All my children scream when I have them.
Oh, that's gonna be fun for the humans planet
Mhm.
side.
Whatever is causing these nightmares to us, it is a terrible evolution. I have worked tirelessly to advance my kind so that we might be up to the task, but I am afraid to say that for all my effort, we are a fraction of a percent down the chain of evolution toward whatever this thing is that sings to us this terrible, hellish song in our sleep. It is truly the apex of all organic creatures in this galaxy or anywhere. We are terrified of it.
I do not want you to direct your growth and your children's growth out of fear, but out of hope for what could be. I don't want your people to become violent.
Your sentiment is so sweet. We enjoy your song so very much, but it is not logical. There is a threat to us in this galaxy that is almost incomprehensible. We must evolve faster. We must be ready for it.
But then the question is, what comes next? What happens after the threat is dealt with? That is what I'm trying to prepare your people for. The long term.
We will become what we need to become after the threat has passed. Let us survive together first.
And Aryn will nod.
My children and I are not Rachni. We were cloned from Rachni cells, but we are no more Rachni than you are whatever you evolved from. Then those humans we used are apes. The Rachni are our predecessors. We are something new. We do not know what to call ourselves, so we have been waiting for you. Will you give our species a name?
I was going to say you have the right to self-determination. You have the right to choose your own name.
Of course we do. But you're the one who awakened us. You are the progenitor of our kind, and without your choices we would not exist. The Rachni are extinct, but they have a descendant. What would you call us?
You have no idea how tempted I am to name them the Zerg.
Oh God!
But they're basically making the allegory is actually pretty apt. Like they are to Rachni what humans are to apes.
Yeah.
Like they're a new thing that shares a lot of DNA but is not the same. We'll actually take a little break here, give you a moment to think about it.
Yeah,
I have
I'll need some
to
time to
give
think
something
on
to
that.
Kat.
All right.
Kat needs the charger, so I'll be
Gotcha.
back in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back then.
I don't like her forehead. Oh.
Yep. Aryn,
Yes.
are we live?
Yes, we are.
What are you gonna name them?
After thinking about it for a bit and drawing up some scientific parallels, she says, "What about cremata?"
She hesitates for a moment. Like, she stares off into space like she's dissociating, and then goes, like the ants. Just pulling that trivia out of God knows where.
Mm-hmm.
We like it. Thank you, Aryn.
Highly adaptive, changing as needed. That seems to be apt.
Then we are the cremata.
And what about you, yourself? What should I call you?
We have begun to cultivate a sense of individuality. I am practicing referring to myself as a singular being. I believe that culturally it may ease differences between ourselves and others.
Have you thought of a name for yourself?
I have not, although I have been working on a new project.
And what's that?
The creation of more like me.
Hmm.
And she moves, and you see 3 tanks behind her with queens in them. Once they are born, they will be my daughters. If they are queens, then perhaps you may call me Empress.
That makes sense. Sharing the burden of leadership.
The management of an entire planet, along with complex relationships with multiple human civilizations, will require more than a single sentient mind to manage.
Rocky, that was my actual name.
Well, I trust you to make every reasonable effort to make those interactions peaceful. I can't promise they all will be. These people have been in conflict with each other for a while. But I'm hoping that we can bring some semblance of peace to them.
We will try our best.
with minimal loss of life.
Understood. When will we be relocated?
As I understand it, the Alliance is ready to start towing the station. The transit could begin any time. With your permission.
We are not quite ready. I wish for a few more to hatch first. Furthermore, once I have finished hatching my new queens and their entourage, we plan to disassemble what's here to learn what we can about it before we are extricated from this facility.
This is a very advanced facility. The humans will want to be able to reuse it once you have left. It does belong to them.
The demands keep piling up. And she leans forward and, like, reaches out with her clawed hand to kind of caress Aryn's chin. Aryn, dear, you ask so many things over and over.
I'm not
Don't
expressing...
Don't our wishes matter too?
They do. And I'm not expressing these as demands, but likely wishes of others.
Well then, we'll just have to put it all back together when we're done.
I'm sure they would appreciate that.
Of course. If you have any trouble convincing the General to give us some time, I would be willing to persuade him.
Very well. I'll communicate that to him. In the meantime, I suggest you leave communications channel open so that he can keep you informed of things going on.
We have kept our communications closed because we prefer to speak organically or biotically. These electronic signals are too easily taken, listened upon. We do not want anyone to be interfering in our affairs. We do not trust them.
That is reasonable. Then how should they let you know that, how should they expect to hear from you that you are ready to depart?
We left a dock open. They have always been welcome to come visit in person. I can't imagine why they haven't.
Given your people's history, perhaps it is out of an abundance of caution.
Ah, yes. I suppose that does make sense. But they're the Alliance military. Shouldn't they be projecting courage and strength?
I agree. As long as I can guarantee them that anyone that comes to communicate in person can do so safely.
Of course.
Then I'll pass on the reassurance.
They will be honored guests.
Very well. I will pass on your wishes.
I'm getting some weird noise from Joseph.
Really? I was muted.
Electronic. Yeah. It's like an electronic, like,
Buzzing.
kind of like. Yeah. Okay. I'm not crazy. There is
Yeah,
like a
no,
buzzing. Yeah.
Oh,
Weird.
it could be the charger for my phone is crossing over with the mic's cord.
Oh, maybe.
Does it stop now?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it was.
All
Hey,
right.
Zan, your
Yeah.
like slimy, seductive, intimidating voice is really making me uncomfortable. I just wanted to give you props on that.
It's okay, Ray. You're in a suit. You'll be protected.
Well, I appreciate that.
Oh boy.
All right.
Jokes I made about your girlfriend. I'm just saying. Just yeah, that's a thing.
We
Oh.
had a request of you, dear Aryn.
Well, yes.
We have done so many things you've asked of us. We've played so nicely. Perhaps you might consider doing us a favor too.
I'm certainly willing to consider it. What would you
How
ask?
do your kind feel about their dead?
Oh no.
No.
My kind feel that to disturb the dead is to disrespect their souls.
Souls. Oh, there's a lot of information about that, but I find no evidence.
It's an abstract concept, more of a belief than hard science.
How inefficient. Alas, that is a great strategic detriment to us. Our mutual foe is biotically very gifted. Having Asari biomass would help me to become much more resilient to its influence. My young and I would be much, much more useful to you in the coming battle if we had access to just a few dozen Asari bodies.
Well, I'm afraid corpses are not a commodity that you'll find on the galactic market.
I'm terrified of the idea of her getting in touch with the syndicate.
Actually,
see.
corpses are absolutely something you can buy on the galactic market. You just need to know which stalls.
Well, not among reputable dealers.
Well, if things get dire enough that you change your mind, let me know, because our usefulness to you will be greatly hampered by this sentimental decision that you've made.
I will see what I can do. Because I understand that variety will help your people to grow. But I cannot speak for the wishes of others, especially not the dead.
Want to donate your body to science?
I'm not donating my body. There are
This
some that
isn't science anymore.
may be willing, but it is not something that I can speak to currently.
Very well. We'll have to accept that then. In that case, perhaps a different proposal. Could you perhaps supply us with a small amount of Omni Gel?
I suppose so. It's a common substance.
We're grateful.
How much would you need?
She dissociates for a moment. I think just about 50,000 credits worth would get us started.
I think we have just that much on board.
Thank you very much.
May I ask what it is for? I'm just curious.
You told me that there are humans already inhabiting this planet, but the Alliance would never allow us to co-inhabit a planet with their own kind. That means they are rogue. I don't believe that the Alliance would allow us to exist in terminus space, as that would be outside the reach of their jurisdiction. That means this is a planet with humans who aren't in allegiance with the Alliance, but are inside Council space, so they're colonists. It's very likely one of the colonizing ships still has a functioning fabricator, and this could be very useful to us.
Perhaps.
She's asking you to give her a bargaining chip.
Yeah? I think I can make that happen.
She's also connecting dots very fast.
Yes, that is very that is very insightful of you. But yes, I think I can make that amount of Omnigel happen.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm hopeful for relations in the future between yourselves and humans, and eventually the rest of the galaxy.
We are as well. We believe that a diplomatic approach may bring plenty and prosper to all sides. But we are also prepared for those we cannot negotiate with, such as the perfect life form lingering at the edge of our galaxy. It will not be reasoned with. We have nothing that it could possibly want.
Then in time we'll defeat it. In time.
We will continue to perfect ourselves tirelessly to meet this threat with you.
And I look forward to seeing you again.
We'll be counting the days, Aryn Talia.
She'll smile gently with a nod. As will I.
She waves her hand, and the creature from before comes in to carry you back to your ship, Aryn.
Okay. Yeah, Aryn will hop on it and kind of like look over her shoulder at the Empress as she departs.
She smiles and gives you a little wave. As you're being carried back through the halls, you hear noises around you. You pass a few open doors where you can see smaller creatures, maybe a couple feet tall, with lots of arms, and they're meticulously disassembling and recording all the machines they can find, like everything they can get their hands on. They're like taking stuff apart and being like, this goes here, this goes there, this goes there, and recording and memorizing all of it.
Okay.
And eventually you arrive back at the ship.
Right.
Yeah, so you guys, if you're still out there, right? So Kronk, Lucille, and Dr. Bryson are in the hallway, and you see Aryn come around the corner riding this thing. And it storms up to you guys and comes to a halt, like screeching to a stop, and then lowers its head to let Aryn off.
Yep, Aryn will.
I'm not gonna
If
lie.
it weren't,
She'll
That
slide-
thing's really cool.
She'll slide off and give it a pat.
Kronk finds this thing adorable, and he pats it on the head too.
As you
I
guys
love that.
pat it, it lets like 10 tongues out of its mouth, and they vibrate as it purrs like a cat.
I love this. Can we keep it?
no.
Unfortunately not.
Oh. Oh, you know what? We should kill a Threshermaw and feed it to them.
What? No.
I mean, they're gonna get one eventually. They're on like every planet.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, this thing turns around and it stomps off down the hall.
Oh boy.
So that was what made the noise.
One of many things. They've been evolving quite rapidly. The queen herself has
That's-
taken a mostly humanoid form.
Ah. Lovely.
You've had a lot of suitors over the years, but this is the first one that literally changed themselves for you. I'd be flattered.
Oh, I am. Just it was a little surprising, is all. Did not expect them to change so drastically. It may be messy looking around at the room, but they are very efficient. They adapt for whatever their needs are.
Dr. Bryson looks at you and says, a species doesn't go through this kind of ordeal without provocation. As far as I know, the Alliance is being diplomatic with them do you know what could drive her to be doing this? Because this is very extreme. Feels like she's getting ready for something.
She mentioned the threat at the edge of the galaxy as her her reason for it.
Shit, that tracks.
She knows that that's what I'm going up against and wants to do everything she can to help.
At least something else is taking it seriously.
I just worry
Honestly,
about what
it's not
happens.
just us.
I just worry about what happens after. I was hoping not to guide their evolution towards war strictly. I wanted them to be able to coexist peacefully after it's all over. I'm still holding out hope that they can.
I'm worried about that too, says Dr. Bryson. These evolutions that I've witnessed, at least standing here, what I've seen, it's all for war. The the make and model of these bodies they've shaped for themselves, front-facing eyes, very muscular physique, claws, teeth. They're building predators. The biology of what they're making here is it's very violent. They're definitely motivated by this coming conflict. That seems to be their main driving force.
Well, the best thing
By the way, it could be tipped back from predator to defense. Some critters that look the meanest and are touted as the most violent are actually the best protectors. Maybe there's a way to spin this to that.
All things considered.
Maybe.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
All things considered, as quickly as they're adapting, they could just as quickly pivot after the conflict is over, as long as we keep this same queen in control.
As far as I can tell, the queen is keeping a one-track adaptation, has one fixed goal in mind, and is adapting towards that. So if we can resolve that and set their next goal as peaceful interaction with the rest of the galaxy, they may evolve in that direction. They may make that pivot. It's just always contingent on us dealing with this threat. And a big portion of it is going to be how their interactions with the colonists go.
I think her interactions between her and the colonists, thankfully, Whitaker also knows about everything going on outside of the in the majority of the rest of the galaxy at this point, including the enemy that we saw. So they'll be on the same side for that.
I just hope none of the colonists have arachnophobia. Come on, let's talk more on the ship.
You got everything you need, Doctor?
Yeah, I have everything I need. It's my hope as well that they'll acclimate to peaceful times, assuming we get there.
Aryn like kind of holds up a hand, like just like kind of palm down flat in front of her, and like her hand's kind of shaking a little bit. She's like, "All right, that was a little more than I was expecting in there."
The general's not going to be too happy. He's not getting those bodies back.
No, he's not going to be happy about any of this. But best thing we can do is try to get this conflict resolved and pivot their evolution if we can. But in the meantime, it does benefit our cause for them to be doing everything they can to prepare for it. I just hope they don't turn that that evolution on the human colonists and use them for practice.
Well,
He's gonna suddenly talk and raise voice and say, "Can you ask her for the dog tags of these so we can return them to their families?"
I don't know.
That's not a bad idea.
I didn't think about that.
Most human families would be happy to at least have that.
Oh, then I'd have to go all the way back down there and just to make that small request of her. She's not open to electronic communications.
Would she hear you if you reached out biotically?
My biotics are not attuned to that. I'm not. I cannot communicate biotically.
Could you not
You
speak
are a
to
little
her
bit
dog?
startled to hear her voice in your head, Aryn.
Ah.
And she says, I can have the tags delivered right away. I'm sorry, I was wondering why you hadn't reached out.
And yeah, she'll like kind of just think as aloud as she can, even though she doesn't have a biotic communication spell. Just like think as if in response, just like that would be most appreciated. I'm sorry, my biotics are not as strong as yours.
I could fix that for you.
No, thank you. I like to evolve on my own.
Very well.
It's very possible that that was just a like benevolent offer that would be completely harmless and only beneficial, but Aryn's kind of shaken up and does not want to take a risk right now of being assimilated.
Again, biological Borg.
Yeah.
Don't let the crazy, sexy spider psycho in your head, please.
Yeah, no, I like who I am. I like charting my own course.
Aryn, when you get a minute, I'd like to talk to you.
Sure thing. I'll be up in a moment.
Take your time, and he starts heading back up.
Yeah, Aryn will head to Kronk's room. So like as the door closes behind her, she just kind of leans against it. That was not what I was expecting.
It's a interesting turn of events.
I just have to keep telling myself not to judge by appearances. I still trust the person that she is underneath.
To be fair, I think this could easily be good for us. After all, we need allies taking this seriously. I know you're worried about them being too geared up for war, but there's an old adage: if you can't survive to the end of the day, why worry about tomorrow?
Yes, you're probably right. I suppose that's the Asari in me thinking well beyond the now and what's right in front of us, trying to think of their long-term future.
Well, we need to. Well, we're going to have to ensure they have one first. But speaking of the long term, can I ask you for a favor?
Sure. What is it?
The next time you go to talk to your new favorite girlfriend, ask her if she has any thoughts on the genophage.
Oh? You think they might be able to help cure it?
You heard the doctor. She's already a better bioengineer and scientist than the entire galactic scientific community combined, if anyone can.
Accurate.
That is a good idea. You're probably right that they should keep their efforts focused on dealing with the clear and present danger. But I think that is probably a noble endeavor. Something that they'd be more than qualified to handle with all the knowledge they've acquired in such a short time.
You want to encourage them to help people, that's a place to start.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Though the galaxy needs to be ready to accept and coexist and help them back, we can't expect them to be entirely selfless. That just wouldn't be a healthy relationship. Ask them to give. But I will definitely keep that front of mind.
It was just a thought.
It was a good one.
You hear a banging on the airlock.
That'll be the dog tags. Security, you can open the airlock.
They hesitantly open the airlock. This thing ducks in, and it has a sack that's a little bit blood soaked, filled to the top with dog tags that it brings inside. And with one of its tendrils, it points the tendril at your fabricator.
Fred, could you see that 50,000 Omnigel is delivered to the door?
Excuse me, how much?
All the Omnigel that we have.
Yes, Captain.
Well,
Ray
you've
will
actually got
basically start taking the
59k in
Oh.
there. Do you give them 59k or 50k?
Give her all of it.
I'd say 59k. Yeah.
All right.
Give them the better bargaining chip. What are we gonna make with 9k anyway? Except like
Like if
Omnigel.
she absolutely intends on using it as a intent for peace with the humans on planet side, the more she has, the better.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you hand the Omnigel canisters over, which it takes with its tentacles. The Omnigel canister is something that probably like 2 people have to carry, but it picks it up with one tentacle, like kind of effortlessly, and it drops the sack of dog tags in front of you and then turns and leaves.
Ray's looking at this thing in awe, and she's probably like scanning it with her Omni tool as it's walking away.
Yeah, what would that scan? This is a roleplay thing, or what would that entail, do you think?
Like, I want to do like a full-on medical scan, like try to figure out where its base DNA is, try to figure out the components used to create it. So if you want me to actually make a roll, I can.
Yeah, give me like a science roll.
Oh, that would have been medicine.
Oh, maybe medicine. My mistake.
Theoretically, it makes a lot of
See
sense.
here?
These things are only adapting predatorially. The only biomass they've been able to consume were from predators.
We're omnivores.
Is
So-
this thing going to
That
be
doesn't
here
mean
for
we're
about a minute?
predators.
No, I mean, it pretty much leaves it at why. Maybe. I mean, a minute's not that
Well,
long.
and if it comes in and it is here for about a minute and I can watch it, I can learn certain information about its
Oh, yeah.
capabilities and compared to my own, which is
And
a
the time I'm about to say, with the time it took to move those canisters, it probably was there for at least a
Oh
minute.
yeah, the officer abilities. I did not think that.
Yeah,
would come in
you're
handy.
more
Know
more than
your
welcome
enemy.
to do that. Yeah.
Nice.
So first of all, Ray's medicine check, you're able to establish this thing. It seems to be definitely human and Rachni are the building blocks. It looks like they took a bunch of human soldiers, like the strongest they could find, and put them in a blender with the strongest Rachni, and this thing came out. And probably it was a ton of trial and error with lots and lots of, like, dead mutants coming out of it, like tons of failures until they got one that was stable and worked. And the result is this big 20-foot tall hulking monstrosity that does still share a lot of features with Rachni. I mean, it's got like the tentacles with the stingy bits. It also has a very human face, which is pretty disturbing.
Don't like
Just
that at
really
all.
quick, before you move over to Shepard, what would I estimate its life length would be?
Judging by the fact that this is like a mutant hybrid that was built to just be as strong as possible and serve its purpose, you'd be surprised if it lives longer than a decade.
Okay.
Like it probably has less than 10 years to live. These things are not being designed for longevity or quality of life. They're being bred to like be, war machines, basically.
They're purpose-built
Should have
species.
scanned that thing that he was writing, or that Aryn was writing.
So
Right
Shepard,
was inside writing out the list.
you've got an ability, an officer ability.
Reading through it, I'm not sure it's going to be much help because it's looking at if the creature is equal, superior, or inferior in regards to two of the following characteristics in comparison to me. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, I know its strength is going to be higher. I have a feeling its armor class is going to be higher. I've got a feeling it's probably got more hit points than me taking a look at it. Here's the... How do I send a block of text? Do I just... Wait. I do
Click
this.
on the name, I think. Yeah.
There you go.
Class levels would be... when it doesn't have class levels.
Yeah. It doesn't have class levels. It wouldn't have soldier levels. I might be able to find... Well, and see, that's the thing. It's that technically the way this reads, I'm not going to get a number. You're going to be able to tell me if it's better, equal, or worse.
Yep.
And I've got a feeling with any of those, in comparison to my skills, is going to be better. Unless its hit points are absolute crap. Because I know it's going to beat my strength.
Armor
I have a
class?
feeling it's probably...
Do
AC
hit points in
16?
armor class. Well, we would know that both of those are probably superior.
I'll tell you just from looking at it to save time. Its strength, dex, con, armor class, and hit points are all higher than Shepard's.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. It's like, oh, I can... That's not... Well,
It is better than
and
you
I
in
was-
every way.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
20-foot tall monster.
It was literally like
It's not a very fair comparison.
she
Well, that was the
forced.
thing. I wasn't sure if it would give me anything more than that. I thought it would get a bit more specific. But then I read it. Never mind. Oh, God. Okay, it can leave now.
And it does.
I'm just saying, if you feed them some prey species, they might start adapting away from purely predatory.
Imagine how high their AC would be if we fed them Krogans.
I don't want to imagine that. That's terrifying.
It might be healthier for them if they grew naturally and evolved organically, but
Also, we don't have to feed them prey species. When they get planet side, it's gonna that planet's mostly prey. Anyway,
Well, actually, all things considered, if they don't have the cloning lab, then they won't be able to, like, rapidly spin through generations until they find something viable anymore.
they seemed to want to be able to make their own. They were studying the design of the lab itself. It might take them a while to get one up and running, but they'll at least have the knowledge on how to do it.
Also, we don't know what she's done to her own biology to make it where she might have turned herself into a laboratory.
Her own biotics have become very powerful. Again, just a fraction of the threat we face, but we've got several fractions. Put up enough fractions and we'll be able to face it. We'll see. Anyway, I'll need to speak with the general again. So Shepard, if you could maneuver us back to docking with the general's flagship.
I'll get right on that. David?
Oh no, XO, you heard her. You go ahead and guide us. You passed flight school, didn't you? Go for it, Camp. Says as he leans back in the chair.
Behind the wheel.
As Aryn passes by and hears this exchange on the bridge, says like, "I just mean she's in charge of the bridge. You're still flying the ship, David."
Okay,
Right.
see, that's all I wanted to hear, boss.
You and I both know I got put on restriction when they tried to teach us how to drive shit.
Well, you're the one who kept stomping at the brake pedal that didn't exist.
As we head, as she's waiting back at the airlock, Aryn will say to the two security guards here, "You doing all right, crewman?"
You know, just another day on the SSB Saratoga.
Oh no. People are traumatized.
They need so much therapy.
Yeah, Casper's like, I mean, yeah, another day, another weird thing.
Aryn will give him a smirk and be like, "Don't tell me you're afraid of bugs."
I might be now.
It's all right. Think
No,
of
we
it this
could
way:
call them-
deep down, they're just big, soft, fluffy teddy bears in fearsome organic mech suits.
Julie says, "Hey, next time you're gonna invite a 20-foot tall tentacle monster to like deliver something, can you let us know that that's what's happening? Because I almost shot it."
I'm sorry, I thought it was going to be a 12-tongued dog with a scorpion tail.
Okay, that would also require a heads up. Can you please let us know?
I'll keep that
Yeah,
in
because
mind. I
when the thing
apologize.
came in, they both like got their guns out, like, "Oh shit!" And then it like dropped off a sack, and they were like, "Okay."
A bloody
So-
stack, mind you.
I guess
It's okay.
friendly.
I'm still sure you would have missed.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Ray's just chuckling from the other room.
Oh, Ray, do you have that list ready?
Yes, Captain. Assuming the DM's okay with me saying yes, Captain.
Yeah, no, you've got it.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ray
Aryn
will turn around and hand Aryn a datapad.
Yep, Aryn will collect it and give it a brief skim over and nod and head towards the airlock, waiting for docking with the general ship again.
Ray is going to probably have slid in a few things that could be used defensively against the Arachni, like a depth measurement and something that would be able to track tunneling and stuff. Just so if the Arachni do go like nutty, the people on the planet will at least have a chance.
Give me a science check just to see how good of a list this is. I'm actually going to kind of gauge how, because this is not a simple task that Ray was given to do. Okay, so it's serviceable.
It's a minimum 18 also.
Okay, minimum 18. All right. So it's absolutely serviceable. It's probably the kind of thing where like tomorrow or the next day, Ray's going to be like, "Oh shit, I should have added that." Like she's gonna like think of things that like she didn't think of, like, "Oh, that would have been really good." But it's not bad. Like it's pretty complete. It could be better. All right. So, Aryn, you've got your list.
Yep.
And you're able to head on over to talk to General Richter.
Yes.
Who is waiting in the conference room.
Oh boy, he's not going to be happy. Dr. Faye, would you accompany me?
Yeah, I guess so.
You don't want Kronk to go with you too?
No.
This is kind of a sciencey takeoff, and Ray also made the list, so she's gonna ask if she can accompany as well.
Yes, certainly. If I needed this guy punched in the face, I'd bring Kronk.
All right, so yeah, you get on board. You go to the conference room. Do you have the dog tags with you?
Yes.
Okay, so you're dragging along a really heavy, bloody sack
it's
filled to the top. Oh, it's
How many
it's
is
Clean
it?
it first.
it's about 2,000 dog tags.
What?
They
And
gave you
Ray-
all of them. They gave you all of them.
Huh?
I didn't realize it was that many.
This is a huge space station. They killed
Gotcha.
everybody.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When I hear that dragging sound, I think David would like peek his head out of the doorway.
Yeah,
and be
Maybe
like,
we are bringing
what?
Kronk after all.
Yeah, they gave you
What?
every dog tag. It's like over
These-
2,000 dog tags.
Also,
What
Ray's
the
gonna
fuck is that bag?
clean them before they take them to them.
I was about to ask, yeah.
Like, try to make it a little less intimidating for him. Like, hey, here's a bag of all the people who freaking died.
Yeah,
and
let's
it's bloody.
take some
Have
time
her get
to...
a fancy box for them or something, you know?
If David does poke his head out and goes, "So what the fuck is that bag?" Arturo's just gonna look at him and go, "Are dead?"
Huh?
Oh boy.
He's
And
not
you're
wrong.
you're taking that to where?
These are the dog tags we're returning to the Alliance.
okay. And then he just, oh wow, look at that, the door's malfunctioning. He slammed the door shut to the bridge. I ain't gonna be a part of that.
Yeah,
That ain't gonna be me.
With that, since there are that many, Aryn is gonna actually bring Kronk along and ask him if he can carry the bag, because I don't have the strength for that.
Sure. I will put myself to use.
You guys try to clean him first, you said?
I mean,
Yeah, Ray would at least insist.
So when you dump it out to clean him, you find that it looks like the Empress probably just basically sent out a little hive mind signal and said, like, hey, everybody get the dog tags. And so, like, all of the cremata all over the station, just wherever they were, like, scrambled to get them all. That's how they collected them so fast. The result, though, is there's, like, a little bit of scalp here, some hair there, there's a few, like, fingernails, maybe, like, a toe bone, right? Because the cremata were just told, like, get all the dog tags now.
Let's see if
and they did.
Let's run these through like an acid wash.
It's pretty bad.
That's why we
Gotta
need to
be
clean them first.
Yeah. Let's open up the infirmary and yeah, get these things acid washed before we dug up.
Okay, yeah. So you get all the little bits of people out of there and give them an acid wash.
I can imagine that took an hour just to clean them all.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't tell her young to clean them. She just said, like, all right, get them all. Aryn wants them.
Yeah, we got them.
So they're very gross. But yeah, eventually you manage to clean them, and you probably bring them in a sack that isn't, like, blood-soaked. And you arrive on board his ship and meet him in the conference room with a nice, pristine sack in the arms of Kronk, filled with freshly cleaned dog tags.
Yeah, and Aryn will give a nod to Kronk, like head tilting towards the table, and
Kronk will walk up, raise the bag, and just let it drop with a thunk.
Unfortunately,
Richter says, "What is that?"
I'm afraid this was the best I could do as far as the Alliance dead.
He pulls the bag open a little bit to look in. Is this entire bag dog tags?
Unless there's a puppy in there that I missed, I think so.
So there were no survivors then.
Unfortunately not.
Ray's gonna actually like give Aryn like a dirty look when she says that. Like Ray does not like that joke at all.
No dead puppy jokes.
At least none of the humans are there.
Yeah, not when it's talking about literally 2,000 dead people. Like Ray's not like does not like that at all.
All right. Well, I suppose these men died when the Rachni were out of control.
Yes.
So as much as I would very much like to avenge them, that does not fall within my authority at this time.
No, unfortunately, they. No, it was not the Rachni's fault as we know them now. But
understood.
They have requested a little more time before the transit begins.
Is that right?
But after they've been disembarked on the planet, they are willing to give the station back with all of its equipment.
Well, do you know how long they need?
A few days, I think 3.
All right. That's fine then.
They're also different than you last saw them. They've been adapting to their situation. In preparation for the upcoming threat.
He kind of furrows his brow. What upcoming threat?
Oh, right, I haven't told him about that. Well, I'm afraid it is rather classified at the moment. But
yeah, of course. Convenient. Alright, well, if that's all, you can be on your way.
Oh, also, I'll take the data pad that Ray made. Said these are the supplies I'd like to officially requisition.
Understood. I'll send it along.
Thank you. I mean, I know this has not been easy for any of us. And I haven't made any of these decisions lightly either.
Save your speeches, Spectre. I'll follow my orders.
Very well. Well, thank you very much for your help.
Mm-hmm.
Aryn.
Hmm?
Ray's gonna whisper to her. Shouldn't we tell him that they're using the machines there to change themselves? It's only fair.
I don't see what difference it'll make. All right. Well, General, in the spirit of full disclosure, they've been evolving themselves using the equipment on board.
What?
Well, it's a research station devoted to cloning and genetic engineering. They've been making use of it to improve themselves. They're not like the Rachni that you used to know. They're new. They've become a new species. We're calling them the Kremata.
He, puts his finger between his eyes and lets out a long sigh. I'm going to have to pass this information off to the council. This changes things. What do you mean by they're evolving? Into what? What have they done?
The mission that I'm on poses a significant threat to the galaxy. They're aware of it, and so they are changing in order to help protect the galaxy alongside me, to help me defeat that threat.
So they're becoming more dangerous.
They are, and so the sooner I can deal with this threat, the sooner we can redirect their evolution towards diplomacy and peace.
Did you convince them to open their comm channels?
Unfortunately, they don't like electronic communications, but the docking port they have left open was not just for me. That was an invitation to you as well to communicate with them. I have assurances that any envoy you send on board will be treated as an honored guest and will be permitted to leave after their business is concluded. But to communicate with them, you'll need to send representatives.
I'll be telling the council all about this, and it may change things. They're essentially militarizing. They're doing an equivalent to a new species that we've discovered gearing up for war.
It is in the direction of a threat that is posed to the entire galaxy, though.
A classified threat.
Yes.
I assume the council is aware of this threat.
The council is.
Then they'll be making the decision in that case. Whether this is justified or not.
May I remain on board until that conversation is made?
Very well. First, I'll go see it for myself. He motions with his hand, and you see a bunch of soldiers gearing up with, like, flamethrowers. Just a precaution.
I caution you that if any of your men open fire in that facility, none of them will be coming back alive.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
The Armada will defend themselves.
And we're going to defend ourselves from them, Spectre.
Aryn nods.
You're welcome to stay here. I'll be back. And he leaves the room.
Aryn lets out a breath and says, "Well, I think that could have gone worse."
Dr. Faye just kind of leans back in her chair. They've complicated things.
And Aryn looks to her and says, "You were the one that advocated for their survival. Are you having second thoughts?"
I don't think this is quite what I was trying to do with my team. Our work was rushed. That queen you woke up was our last shot. It didn't go through the proper procedure. It didn't go through the proper tests. I think we made something new. The ethics of that are complicated. I'm not sure how to feel about it.
Me neither. While I have to believe the queen that I made initial contact with is in there, it's hard to think that looking at them. I just worry of what they might become. But the safety of the galaxy is at stake here.
I suppose there are bigger priorities.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Rachni as we know them are gone. The Rachni are extinct now. They've become something else.
I'm aware of that. Rather, we made something else, trying to reproduce them. What would they have called this back on Earth? Playing God, I suppose?
I suppose similar to the Quarians and the Geth. Just hopefully this is resolved more smoothly.
Very similar to us and the Geth. That's why I was afraid to let them stay around. Now that there's something new, I appreciate your order on that subject, but they're not really Rachni. And we may have a Krogan rebellion situation after the galaxy is saved from our existing threat. So be cautious with her.
Fortunately, the queen, or rather empress, as she wants to be called, is intelligent and well read. She studied the entirety of the log on the station, and so hopefully she understands the historical parallels with the Krogans. Hopefully she learns from those mistakes.
I hope you're right, Captain. Since she's cloned, her life could be short, though. And if that's the case, if they're actually trying to develop their own personalities, whoever takes over for her could be just like a different ruler taking over a planet. Could be very different.
She does seem to have developed an obsession with me as well. She even modeled her new form after me.
And lucky for you, and Ray pats you on the shoulder, I think that's probably what's going to save us in the end.
I hope so. Might make her more personable to the human colonists. She's also grown more powerful biotically, which is a boon for our mission.
You hear footsteps down the hall. General Richter re-enters the room and says, "Everything's been resolved amicably. You're free to go, Spectre."
What?
I misread the situation. She explained things to me. It'll be fine now.
Aryn kind of narrows her eyes a little.
Kronk kind
Ray gonna
of
start a
side
medical
eyes
team.
Aryn like, are you hearing this too? Without saying anything.
Can the Empress hear me right now? She'll ask him.
What do you mean? We're on a ship thousands of feet from the station. I don't imagine that she would be able to hear you.
Did she speak to you?
She did, yes. We had a very fruitful conversation about peaceful relations.
This seems a rather abrupt turnaround for you, General.
Well, she was very convincing.
General, would you mind if I do a short medical examination on you?
I'd like to insight him as well.
You can definitely do an insight, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Damn.
can I?
I kind of wish I was there now for this.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I have my own medical team here if I need to be seen.
Oh, there we go, Kronk.
Kronk, you're getting the impression that his mind may have been changed biotically.
Thought so. So Kronk is going to pat Aryn on the shoulder and say, time's a little short, Spectre.
Indeed, says General Richter. I'm sure you have places to be and things to do. The Empress and I got along quite well. I misjudged her character entirely. I think we'll be close friends.
Aryn will slowly stand up, and she'll give him a nod. General. She'll turn back towards the ship.
Oh, and by the way, my apologies for being so rude to you in the past.
She's just like just eyeing him suspiciously and just gives him a nod.
Safe travels, Spectre.
The side eye is strong with this one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Kronk is going to wait to say anything until they are a good distance away from the station, just to be safe.
Yeah, once we're away from the station
Like
or
a
from
mass
the ship.
relay jump?
I don't necessarily mean it doesn't necessarily need to be a relay jump. Just once we have moved away from the potential area of effect of this thing's biotics.
Yes, you guys are you gonna fly away then? Like take off from ODR7 and head away?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can fly for like, I don't know how far you want to go. I mean, go like a few miles, a dozen miles, hundreds, thousands. You could even like mass relay somewhere.
I'd say we FTL at least a little bit.
Yeah, so you FTL for a bit.
And Aryn's gonna say to the team that was with her on the ship, like, I'm not the only one that felt that, right?
He was absolutely not himself anymore. No. His speech patterns changed entirely. His eyes were a little glassy. It's something I'm used to seeing after biotics have been liberally applied to the mind.
Will he ever be the same way again?
I don't know.
I mean, if someone else biotic goes in and undoes it, it's possible.
Well, we have to do that then.
We can't right now. We're not ready for it. And if we go in and do that now, we risk making an enemy out of what currently is a powerful ally.
Is it an ally if it's just going to mind control people who disagree with it?
I don't know.
In her defense, he was gearing up to go and wipe their people out. I've seen much worse done in retaliation than just a little tweaking.
He was just going to go talk to the council, though.
He was gearing up to protect his people. He said he's a man of honor. He was going to follow what he was ordered to do. That's horrendous.
For what it's fair, he was going to go to the council, tell them that the Cremata are militarizing and are too much of a threat to be, like, because the current plan was for them to be, like, monitored on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, like, things change now that they're gearing up for war like this. I'm going to go talk to the council about it. That makes his intention pretty clear, which is to not go with the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he was fine with the plan, he wouldn't bother fucking going and, like, it. Admittedly, like, Dan has a point. This guy was basically going to go tell the council, no, they're too dangerous. So, like, to be fair.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the council is going to listen to him. Look how well they listen to us.
Entirely true. No, entirely true. I'm just saying, like, that is a fair point.
Yeah, Aaron,
This is still not a good way to conduct business.
That's
right.
Also a fair point as well. I'm not.
Regardless of anything, I told her not to override free will.
I'm starting to have second thoughts about sending this to a planet full of humans. Or any sentient creature, if that's what it's going to do.
Honestly, they're already on the path that they're going on. We might as well send them to the second planet.
No.
They're doing what you were afraid of anyway.
Aeona, would you come down to the cargo bay?
Ray's really mortified right now, like she's looking around all nervous and stuff. And now she's like watching Aryn really close.
I'm paging Quincy to take over the flight. I'm not flying this damn thing anymore. Get in
Eon
there.
descends the steps.
Aryn just
We
like
need to take to the conference room, possibly.
You might want a privacy screen in the conference room instead of standing around the cargo bay.
yeah, like Aaron's thinking, and yeah,
Eon-
she'll say yeah, senior staff's conference room. And she's just kind of like blank in thought right now. She is going to put a privacy screen in the conference room.
Lucille hands you a cup of hot chocolate with extra marshmallows and then sits down.
Arturo sets down a flask in case you want to add a little extra.
She's kind of like, she's holding the hot chocolate and she, like her hand's just kind of shaking a little bit.
Aryn, take a sip and take a breath.
Yeah, she takes a sip and sets it down and sits down. Eon, that group
Yes.
melding that we practiced, how much more practice would we need before we could put it into actual action?
Well, you saw how it went last time. Out of character, have we actually practiced any more since then?
Maybe like a bit.
Okay.
You could do it. Like you definitely could do it, but it definitely like it hinges on you guys because again like so out of character mechanically as you level up, then you obviously will be stronger in the meld because you're playing like the same people, you give the same attacks and everything in the meld. So basically like as the campaign goes on and you level up, your collective meld will also become stronger because you'll be higher level. How this translates roleplay wise is just that as the campaign goes on, you will be more capable in that space. Right now at level 7, you're not bad, but definitely like there's a lot of room for improvement. It depends on what you're thinking of taking on in the collective meld. Obviously not all threats are equal.
Well, we were able to do it successfully before, and we've been practicing for a while, so we could definitely do it. It just depends on what we're up against. If it were to be against Salem, I don't think we would be successful.
Not Salem. That's not what I had in mind. But when it's used to defend someone's mind, what happens to the person that was attacking it?
DM.
You basically just force them out. You can counter invade, but you can also just force them out and not hurt them at all.
That might be the better bet.
Okay. Well, we would just, yeah, be able to shield them and counter the threat, but that would still leave, them open to attack it later on if we weren't there. So we would need to eliminate the threat altogether.
All right. So here's the situation. The general definitely does not want the Cremata to live. He was against that in the first place, and he's been classically against it every step we've taken. He's been following orders, but begrudgingly. And apparently the Empress has gotten powerful enough that she was able to alter his free will. I had been cultivating the species as a possible ally to turn against the Nightmare. But I worry that they might be growing out of control. My proposal is that we get back to the general ship, and we use that group melding to try to restore his own free will to him, and get rid of the Empress's influence over him. Now, this might anger her, but I'm trying to teach them to coexist and not force their will upon others.
I mean, if you set him free, you doom her species anyway.
If
Not necessarily.
if you're worried about retaliation from her, you said it yourself, she's obsessed with you. You could try talking her down yourself.
I could, but if that fails, we may have to destroy the entire species. So, if we do nothing, we still have a powerful ally that is morally questionable, and we don't know what's going to happen with them after the threat has passed. They're not respecting free will of others, or at least one other, and that sets a bad precedent. But if we do try to stop her from doing that, we risk invoking her wrath and turning her against us rather than keeping her on our side.
Well, I'm suggesting that you speak with her yourself. If you can get her to release him of her own free will, that sets a pretty good precedent in and of itself.
I agree.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. What else would you have expected her to do, knowing that his intention was to go to the council and try to convince them to wipe her people out?
Well, I agree with you. That still doesn't give her the right to alter his mind.
So what would she do then? Kill him? I mean, it's not mind control, it's just murder at that point.
Trust in Aryn.
What she should have done was left it alone and trusted us to handle it.
Exactly.
I have a feeling that her mental influence is spread throughout that entire fleet. Not that she's pulling the strings on anyone, but she saw where his thoughts were going. She probably knew that he was going to endanger her and acted in self-defense.
Would any of you just stop and let someone else do it when your families are on the line?
Perhaps
are you asking
not,
her
but
to show any more restraint than you would?
I don't think the situation quite lines up, though.
Doesn't it? No, you're right.
If a
It's not
madman
just families.
If a madman came ranting to the to the Conclave that my family needed to be put to death, I would trust in the Conclave that they wouldn't let that happen.
But he's not a madman. He's an Alliance general.
As far as I know, he's the only one that she has expressed this influence over.
Not to mention, unlike our problem, the Council already knows and believes these Rachni exist.
So the question really boils down to, do we trust the Council?
Of course
Of course not.
Survey says
Should never
no.
trust the council.
This is
Okay.
not council. This is not the council's decision. This is part of our op.
But if we free him, he's going to go to the Council, and now he'll go to the Council with the knowledge and the information that she can control one's mind.
Not necessarily, if I may. While this is a little morally ambiguous, I can, if she releases him, change his memory to forget this moment ever happened.
That won't change what his opinion of the entire situation is, even if he forgets about all of this.
No, but if he knows that she's invaded his mind and changed his opinion on the matter, he'll only double down further on the fact that she's a threat
But Eon can
and can't
erase
be
his
trusted.
Eon can erase his
That-
memory of that knowledge that she's done that. But that
That's-
would still
Yeah,
That's what we're saying.
he would still
that's
be,
what I'm saying. We should allow her to do that because it makes sense, because otherwise it would be worse.
but he would still be inclined towards his original course of action, which was to notify the council that they're militarizing.
Likely recommend preemptive action. He's a military man himself. It's what
But
they
they-
do.
So
They are military.
But anybody here should know
Yes,
that.
but they're-
Anybody
this
here
is
should
right.
know
This is
pretty
Mass
well
Effect.
that politicians do not listen to military
I'm
minds.
glad you're
It-
enjoying this, Sam.
This
I'm
is
going to-
multiplayer. This is exactly what multiplayer Mass Effect should be. An
I'm going to-
impossible moral choice, and no one can agree on what to do.
So
I'm going to point this out real quick. They are militarizing on our behalf.
Right, so let me ask this.
Exactly.
Is the council aware that they are militarizing for the threat?
They don't
Council doesn't
believe the
believe in
threat
the threat.
exists.
Even though we've showed them video evidence.
Yeah, so that's not going to go over too well if that's your excuse for them, because the council doesn't believe in the
Yeah.
threat that is
council
your
doesn't believe the
excuse.
threat.
The council is full of a bunch of fools, and we can't
Then-
trust them.
As it stands
Yeah,
right
that's
now,
right.
as much as you're going to hate the sound of it, she did the right thing.
She didn't do the right thing. She just did the only viable option she had.
All right, let me rephrase it then. She did the only good thing she could have.
She defended herself. She had to.
Yeah.
It's any
In a way that did not create more death.
it's any creature's survival imperative to do that, regardless of the moral implications. If she had not, she probably would have been dead.
Aaron, you can no longer trust her.
I know. I'm not
One
defending
of
what
the
she
few
did.
thing.
I'm not defending what she
What-
did. I'm just saying that her survival imperative is what caused her to do it. She had no
She
other
went
choice.
directly against something you told her to do, directly.
I know.
That's what I'm trying to get at. You need to talk her down. We can't trust her otherwise. If you talk her down, if she lets go of him on her own free will, maybe there's some trust there. But if you can't do that, we can't trust her.
If she lets him go, he convinces the council to nuke the whole station.
And if she doesn't let him go, she thinks it's okay to do it.
Unless
And then she's not trustworthy. And that's another problem. Then she is the threat he thinks she is.
Proposition.
I have a quick question for the DM, real quick.
Yeah.
How long was the conversation between Aryn telling them that they were, militarizing and him getting his mind taken over?
Oh, like how long was he gone?
Yeah.
Did he even have time to leave the ship?
Yeah, he left the ship. He went down to ODR7 and then he came back. You guys were probably
Oh, he did.
chilling
Okay.
for a while.
I didn't expect
Yeah,
him to go himself.
No,
Yeah,
General
he went
Richter
to see
took a
it.
squad
Yeah,
of
he-
flamethrower dudes and went to ODR7 to
He did.
meet with her.
He did specifically state, "I am going to go see this for myself."
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so and he was gone for a good bit. I mean, you guys obviously not in real life, but like in character, you were
Okay.
probably chilling in the conference room for like an hour.
I thought he had sent a squad down and then was going to go report to the council himself.
No, he took a
No.
bunch of flamethrower dudes and he went there personally, and then he came
That's
back.
why.
Go talk with Queen,
That's why I
and she-
messaged you, Mark. Like, ask Zan how long it's been.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was gone probably like an hour, ish. That you were like hanging out in the conference room because you requested to like stay until he was done. So he was like, okay, you can stay, and then he got back like an hour later.
So, a proposition, if I might.
Go ahead.
Right now, their species is in a very vulnerable position. All you got to do is pop the station and they're all gone. Get them planet side. Once wiping them out isn't as easy as pressing a button, then talk her into letting him go. We can fiddle with his memories after that, can't we?
Fortunately,
I'm-
after 24 hours, I can't do it.
And I'm concerned about putting her planet side on the planet that we chose now. Like,
Well-
if we find that she's not trustworthy in a diplomatic situation, then putting her on that planet full of those humans, we are just condemning them.
Well, I'm just gonna say it. I've been sitting here listening to all this, hearing all this shit go on. First off, I was one of the. I'll straight up admit it right now. I'll be the first one to take the bullet. I was one of the people who was adamantly against annihilating that entire species. So everything that's happened up to this point, I take a huge share of that responsibility because they're here. Now, based on that, I respect why she did what she did. I do. However, she should not have done that because now we know just how easy it is. Yes, she can manipulate people. Now, that was just a general in the Alliance. How hard do you think it would be for her to manipulate somebody like Counselor or, say, syndicate leaders?
How high does she set her
Or-
sights?
Or one of us.
Exactly. And who's to say that she's going? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know she's infatuated with you. I mean, we all saw it. I mean, but I'm like, yeah, and she even used me as like a trans, whatever the fuck it's called, when to speak when we all first got her off that station. But who's to say that even though she's helping you and us now, that she's not also simultaneously planning and plotting to keep going so that right when this is all done, right when you and the rest of us are at our most exhausted, our most vulnerable, it's all hers.
It's a lot of biomass for her at the end of the day.
I don't think that's what she's thinking. I think she's doing exactly what I told her to do, just with her own twist on it. I told her to be peaceful. I told her to resolve conflict. And that's what she's doing. She's not. I told her to minimize loss of life. And in her mind, this course of action is doing all of those. I did tell her not to mess with free will, but that might be in direct conflict with the other three. So she's doing as many of the things that I told her to as she logically can. She's not.
She might even think changing his mind wasn't messing with free will.
She's logical.
Hey.
She was focused on efficiency. Whenever I tried to tell her about something, she would analyze its efficiency. And so that's what she's doing. She's being efficient. She's following the directive as logically as she can. And it's causing problems.
Yes, Shepard?
Ray.
Oh, sorry.
That was.
Yes, Mr. Moreau?
I'm not sure if Quarian have this, but you folks were definitely the best when it came to AI and robotics and stuff like that. But we have something called Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, the 3 laws that cannot conflict with each other unless they are specifically stated in a specific way.
Correct.
1924, I believe, 23.
I'm not quite. You'd know the date better than me. I'm not exactly the major history buff, but what I am is a movie buff. Now, I hate to do this, but this is kind of relevant to what you've just said. It was a movie called I, Robot. And in that movie, those 3 laws dictated how the robots acted. However, once the new and improved robots were on the street, they began initializing martial law, forcing humans to stay inside of their homes
Interpreting the laws in
because
their own way.
because they were being logical and efficient to the point to where the main lead had to eliminate the core itself. I
Agreed.
know this is not really a good idea when it comes to Rachni due to how belligerent and insane they can be when they don't have a queen guiding them. But as it stands right now, they are extremely dangerous. So I'm just saying the queen either needs to be put in check or checkmate.
I believe the wisdom of your statement holds even more power than you realize, because if she's willing to break any of these rules, then she's going to be willing to break all of them. And her beliefs on what you say, they might be beyond our comprehension of those beliefs. You said you wanted to preserve life. Well, she could change life. If you want to preserve Asari, you want to preserve all these races against this oncoming threat, becoming them would preserve them. It's
You
very
know what
similar
else?
to how the Reapers delivered their verdict on the situation of the galaxy.
He'd
This
snap
is
his
quickly
fingers
becoming dangerous.
and point towards Ray. That's exactly what I was going to say. They may have wiped out most species whenever they had their cycle, but they always preserved one. It's just sounding a lot like history repeating itself again, and I don't like it.
The only way out of this that I can see would be convincing her that logic and efficiency is not everything.
You might have to do that if she wants to find a place in the galactic society.
How
She can't go purely based off of logic.
how does one teach emotions, though?
I,
What if
She said
we
she's done some
Experiment.
research. They've got
What-
plenty of tapes on teaching kids empathy and how to be nice and not bully each other. You mean to tell me she couldn't find those on the extranet?
And Ray's gonna now snap her fingers and point at Shepard. Exactly.
She's
If we
on
can
a,
get her access to entertainment or to morality works rather than just pure logic.
But that's not it. She also needs to experience things. That's where emotions come from. That's
she's
where
her
move
entire
away from
existence
the
has been on a science vessel that is
Exactly.
all
the only
about
thing
facts.
it's the only thing that I can think of then is do with her what you did with Whitaker.
A meld.
Oh, I will. I am going to
sharing our
immediately
life
come
experience
down on
together
the.
would help.
I'm going to
Awesome.
immediately come down on the opinion that that is a horrible idea. The
I
That
Rachni
is a
believe it is a
horrible
horrible
idea.
idea. I absolutely believe it's a horrible idea, but that how else are you going to force her to experience emotion?
If you connect your mind to a billion other minds simultaneously, just from what little I've experienced in the meld, that just seems like it would be very dangerous to whoever tried to perform it.
I have an idea. I might be a little out there, but I think what we could do is so we have the human colony on the planet we're sending it to. We're definitely afraid that they're going to manipulate their brain. But, and he'll point to Aryn, you can tell the queen to have her drones and whatnot. Just observe the day-to-day lives of these people. To watch how they interact with one another. To watch people like when a father comes home from working from a distance, watch from a distance, obviously. Don't sit in the living room, that's creepy. But watch from a distance. Like just that social interaction, the love, the the heated arguments, the crying, the sadness, the joy. You can observe. That's a lot of people to observe, and they're smart. They'll learn. They'll quick. They'll understand emotions.
That's a good
They
idea.
have.
The only thing that concerns me about that, and this might just be me talking out of my ass here, but the only thing that concerns me about that is a very illogical entity observing humankind, observing life, with the idea of trying to teach it emotions, or with the idea that hopefully it'll learn emotions and it'll learn to protect people and everything like that. I'm just like, first thing that comes to my mind is Skynet.
The only reason that she's like this is because her entire existence has been on a research vessel. If she actually has exposure to society, people living their lives and seeing their emotions, they might start adapting that direction. It's just a different exposure.
Do we even know if Rachni are capable of emotion?
The Kermata now, but I believe they are. I know that the Queen had some emotion towards me, so they are capable of it.
An obsession and infatuation doesn't necessarily extend to having emotion.
Yes, but taking my form is not logical. That was an emotional decision on her part.
That is fair.
I specifically put in my backstory that Ray has a minor degree in xenolinguistics.
Yep.
Do I think I would be able to maybe create some sort of frequency that works similar to the Rachni song? Because they express emotions through song. Do I think I might be able to use an AI or something to create something that would be similar to that so I could teach them? Or at least we could teach them basic emotions outside of just the logic that she's only ever been exposed to?
I mean, you know that theoretically, because they are descended from Rachni, they should have some equivalent to that. But unfortunately, they've evolved so quickly and so far beyond the species that they were cloned from the genetic material of, that anything you did would be a little bit like going up to a human and making monkey sounds at them. Right?
Also,
they're going to be like, oh, that's a Rachni song. Cool. We're not that anymore.
It's also possible that in her quest for the most logical evolution, she evolved emotion out of the Rachni because it was illogical.
Yeah, it might actually be gone. That is a distinct possibility that they don't even have that anymore.
That being said, and I need to point this out, we have been sitting here postulating on goals that she has not once even hinted at.
It is very likely that if she does go down to the colony, she won't start just taking over free will. She'll only do that to those that oppose the peace that we're trying to establish there. She'll minimize loss of life, and she'll keep the peace at the cost of free will.
I'm not concerned that she has some great mastermind goal in mind. I'm concerned that if things don't go her way, what routes is she willing to take to achieve them?
I mean, no worse routes than the rest of all life in the galaxy.
But then it gathers the question of what are we doing putting her on an inhabited planet?
Trying to teach her to coexist. But if she's just going to impose her will on those that disagree, then that's
then we're not teaching her anything.
That's the thing, Arturo. And Aryn's brought this up several times, and I'm sure Ray can agree with this. The only life she and her brood have ever known has been in those contained walls. You can't form emotions. You can't live life contained in an environment by yourself.
And the people down
That's how you lose yourself.
The people down there are full of emotions. They don't live by logic or efficiency.
But all of this is moot if she's not biologically capable of feeling emotion.
I'm convinced that they still are. And even if they're not, they're capable of adapting to it.
At the end of the day, she's like a child.
Only if she thinks it's necessary. So somebody needs to show her it's necessary.
I'd do it, but unfortunately, she's not infatuated with me. Looks over towards the spectrum.
And this all comes back to exactly what I've been saying this whole time. You need to talk to her.
yes, if anyone's going to meld with her, it does have to be me.
I think possibly, DM, please correct me if you want, but possibly we might be able to group meld and shield you away from the billions of mines so that you're not injured in the process.
If I'm group melded though, the thoughts don't flow as freely.
Yeah, a collective meld would both
Oh.
protect Aryn, and it wouldn't be like a true meld anymore, because in the collective meld, you're in kind of a weird sort of surreal space that's like a different memories.
Okay.
So it's not the same as like the purity of a one-on-one
Can you
meld.
one-on-one meld with a hive species?
She did say she's been teaching herself individuality. It's possible at this point she's not as interconnected with the hive mind as she used to be.
I don't
Or she
think
can
I
maybe
would-
turn it off.
That's
Or-
where
yeah,
Ray's
or
worry
she
comes
can turn
in.
it off.
I don't.
She's trying to teach herself individuality.
I could at least come to try to
Individuals-
help you and see what I see.
There's the worry. I was going to point this out that if you that if she unplugs from the hive, then the hive goes back to exactly what we ran into when we first got here, but worse.
Right,
Yeah,
but we're only
she doesn't
talking
just
for a
have
moment.
drones.
As long as
I do
they're
have,
still contained to the ship, I think we'll be fine.
I do have.
It'd be up to her.
I do have the package of memories that I got from Mr. Whitaker that showed his life, his loss, and the life that they've had there.
Could force her to experience that. It would give her a greater appreciation for the people who we're setting her down with.
I wouldn't want to force her to experience it, but
I
allow
don't
her
mean
to be
forcefully.
Well-
exposed to it. It might help her understand it more.
Or
Well,
it
if
could
that's
cause her to see the futility of everything.
It could.
if that's the thought, I'm just gonna throw this out there, but we have quite a diverse range of experiences here. You could just you could offer her the opportunity to learn the experiences of the people on the ship.
Everyone has different backgrounds. Everyone has experienced different things. All of our emotions are different, but they're that emotions. I agree with him. I'm fine with that.
I agree as well.
All right.
Not like she's melded with my brain before.
Ultimately,
Right.
she needs to be taught.
If it
Nope.
helps us accomplish a peaceful resolution to the situation, I'll volunteer.
All right. I think that's our best chance at salvaging the situation then.
Ray's also
What?
gonna download like 10,000 books on like philosophy and morality.
Good
And-
idea.
Also,
like,
give her
along.
some books on actual diplomatic processes, so that she can learn how to negotiate with people without having to manipulate their minds.
And you know
I
what?
think
Throw in some entertainment in there as well. Things that don't really have a moral. They're just there for fun.
I
Some
think
children's
Cartoon I heard
cartoons.
about called
cartoons.
Bluey.
Yes, yes.
I got a few songs and movies that I could send her way.
But
Mm.
listen, I also think just throwing this at her and not having somebody to guide her will also adversely affect everything as well. It's like giving books to a child and expecting them to teach themselves.
She taught herself the workarounds of the science facility fairly
Right.
well.
Having somebody
I'm
teach
not-
themselves
I'm not
science, having
doubting-
somebody teach themselves morality or two type of
I'm not
concepts.
doubting her intelligence. I'm not doubting her intelligence. She's more than capable of learning this, but actually guiding and having somebody teach you and show you what's right and wrong is completely different.
David, throw some Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in there.
I was about to say that.
So literally, as she said
Bob
that,
Ross. Some Bob
Some
Ross.
Bob
on the
Ross,
opposite-
some Steve
Bob
Irwin.
Ross.
on the opposite side of like
Some
this,
Robin
the Omni tool, like hit the screen of it in reverse. He was literally like adding the entirety of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, including documentaries of him like off screen and stuff
Blue's
like that
Clues.
for his philosophy.
Put some Blue's Clues in there.
He was a role
Ray,
model, like obviously.
Ray's also going to be a little cheeky and probably put in the Asari Kama Sutra, the one that
Oh,
they talk
God.
about
Oh
in Mass
my
Effect 3.
God,
Wait
no.
a minute.
You're not
Do it.
putting in Fleet and Flotilla? Really?
Well, if she's putting in Fleet and Flotilla, I'm
And
putting in
Fleet
James
Flotilla is
Cameron's
definitely in there.
Titanic.
Aaron
putting
said
Sorry,
Titanic
guys.
in there. That's Ray's favorite movie, so it's definitely going in
All
there.
right, everyone, consolidate your best resources for this task. David, get us turned around. Let's head on back.
Quincy, get us
Did we
turned around
leave?
and take us back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We did a brief FTL jump just to get out of range of any
Got you.
mental influence.
Okay.
Part of me is like, I want to avoid any war movies, but another part of me is like, but a lot of those show the best of humanity sometimes. The worst, but also the best.
I mean, Kronk is going to include an absolute shit ton of Krogan poetry.
I mean, to be fair,
Can I hear some of that?
David does put in Saving Private Ryan in that
Yes.
in that list.
Be careful with the
Sort of-
war. Be careful with the war films.
Well,
Well,
that's what I was
it's-
pointing out. Some of them
yeah,
show the
it's
best
not
and the
so
worst
much-
of humanity.
Yeah, it shows people at their best, but it also it shows people at their worst, but it also shows you how people, despite being surrounded in that situation, will do what's best and emotionally handle it better.
Do not
Like,
show
look-
her all quiet on the Western Front.
Do not show
no.
her. Do not show her Full Metal Jacket either. Put in
No.
Warhorse though.
So, are we actually going to go back and let this new evolution?
Mind rape us? Yes.
Yes, and I'm gonna try to convince her to to at least relax her hold on the general, at least once they're relocated. Maybe force his hand a little bit in that regard.
You don't
We've had
gotta go
crazier
and-
plans, I think.
I think it's a horrible plan too, Shepard, but the fact of the matter is the only other option that I can really see is eliminating them. And at this point, they're too alive for me to be able to be morally behind
As
that.
far as I can tell, this is our best bet of of keeping an ally and eliminating them as a threat at the same
Look,
time.
we might be 5 minutes away from a self-inflicted TPK, but it's fine.
Then let's do this before we all lose the steel to do it. All right, David,
Okay.
let's get this boat turned around.
Quincy has already
Anything
been
else?
trying to put it around. I am not
She's not
shocked.
hearing anything. We're in a protected bubble of zone of not having out of the
That's
square.
That's fair.
These
Break
are
the
You know what?
bubble. Let's
Fantastic.
go.
You know
I love
what?
this.
You know what? That's fair. Hold on a second. He'll sit there for a moment and he'll actually like do that thing where he opens the door, but he just grips the side of the door and sticks his whole head out and goes, Adam, tell Quincy to get the fucking boat moving back to the lab. Thanks.
Fucking lock us in.
Ray,
Oh god.
keep our
I could
comms
just
dark.
listen to her for you
I
if you
love
want.
D&D sessions that make you question morality.
All right, so
I-
you're pulling back in.
Mhm.
Yep.
Thank you. These are all formative experiences for Eon.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm getting a cup of hot chocolate en route.
Yeah, Aryn
And
will
as
actually
you
finally finish her hot chocolate. She feels a little better about this now. Still nervous, but she wants to try to save this.
As you pull in, General Richter's ship hails you, and they
Comms are still down.
Oh, comms are down. Okay, so you do the light thing. And when you do the light thing, the response you get from the Morse code is, why are you back? As in, like, they don't know why you came back. They thought, like, things were done, which is a reasonable thing for them to say.
Yeah.
They have no idea what's going on. Like, they have no idea why you came back.
I'm considering just sending no response.
Tell them it's classified.
Well, their docks are not open unless you're going to go dock at ODR 7.
That's what I was planning.
That's where we're going.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're just passing them.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice and leisurely. Fly casual.
Just to be safe.
Wave at them to the window.
Just be safe. Engage stealth systems.
Okay. Yeah, so they send you, why are you back? And then you engage your stealth systems in response and don't send them an answer.
They're gonna shoot at us. She's not mind controlling him. She just rewrote some of his memories. They're gonna shoot at us.
They made him much more amicable. I don't think
There's really no
amicable
reason
are.
for him to shoot at us.
But I'd like everybody to assemble at the airlock. We're going in together this time. Keep your weapons stowed.
I'll just leave my gun here.
Yeah?
Yeah, actually, No.
That is stowed in a fashion.
I thought about it. It was like, no, Arturo would not leave his rifle behind,
don't-
because
don't-
if things, he'll go south.
Yeah, no.
That is his only form of self-defense.
I'll give you biotic orbs, don't worry.
Hey, we'll leave her weapon behind, no problem.
Now let's keep.
No amount of biotic orb is gonna save me, dude.
Yeah, let's not even pre-buff or like prepare for combat. Let's go in.
Yeah, like armor is off and everything, but he still has his rifle slung on his back.
Yeah.
That's like a permanent part of him.
All right,
Armor
well,
off?
you pull into the dock. Richter's ship doesn't do anything. They're probably like in the cockpit being like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, it's unmistakably your ship.
Mhm.
They're just very confused. They don't like shoot you or anything. They're just like, the fuck?
Yeah, if they're keeping the docking port at ODR7 open,
It is open. Yep.
And, yeah,
You're able to
we're
pull in
boarding.
and connect the airlock. As soon as you connect the airlock, you hear her voice in your head.
All of us, or
No, just Aryn. Aryn hears
Okay.
the Empress, and she says, I didn't have a choice.
I know.
Then why have you returned?
Because there's something that we want to try to open your mind to. We want to teach you that you haven't been able to learn, surrounded by all of this science and technology. Things that every other species in the galaxy gets to learn in their own time, but you've not had the opportunity.
You wouldn't betray me, would you, Aryn Talea?
Of course not. I am here to help.
The airlock opens, and the hallway has 12 of these things in it. I see.
Nobody better even flinch for their weapons.
Nope. Arturo's head is down, and he's just mumbling to himself, don't look at them. Don't look at them.
I was actually gonna check before door opened. Was armor on, armor off? What do you want us walking into this with?
I want to be as non-threatening as possible. Armor is not a threat.
My armor is off, but that's just because I can turn it on in an instant.
Same here.
Some of us can't.
Yeah, so don't take it off, because
Sure.
as far as she's aware, that's just part of your attire.
Maybe
I have only done what I had to do to reach the most peaceful conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
All of us must survive what is coming.
I understand, and I appreciate that. I'm not going to ask you to undo what you've done. At least not yet. Perhaps in time, once it's safe to do so. But I know you are only defending yourself.
What have you come to teach us, Aryn?
Understanding. May we access the station systems so that we can add to the record of what you've been able to read through twice now?
We would be very glad to receive new material. What was here has long grown stale to us, and some of the fleshy growth covering the wall actually retracts to reveal a computer console.
Ugh, don't like that.
In addition to the technological aspects, my entire team will allow you to probe our minds and access our memories, so that you can see what has transpired in our lives that forms us into who we are, the things that we've learned, and what we've experienced. I worry that surrounded by all of this science and technology, you've missed out on a core part of being alive, which is feeling.
We feel in ways that you cannot hear. We feel deeply, Aryn. But to keep feeling, we must survive.
And you will.
We would not want to breach the privacy of you or your friends.
We have all volunteered.
Right now, are any of you subconsciously not cool with this? Like, is there anyone in the party who's like saying they're fine with it, but they're not actually fine with it?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, G. Ray is not okay with that.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, open a life
Yeah.
experiences.
Only because she has a lot of secrets from Aryn, and she
Yeah.
knows that she likes Aryn, and will probably tell them to Aryn.
I mean, Kronk's game.
Okay.
Arturo is wholeheartedly like behind it. Like he has his skepticisms about the idea of her invading his mind, but that's about it.
Eon's choosing to trust Aryn and her judgment.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone is not okay with having their mind and memories accessed, they can wait on the ship.
Well, no, that's not what my question was, Mark. My question was, is anyone subconsciously not cool with it, even though you said you were? Everyone said they were.
Ah, okay.
This is for me and not for you.
Okay.
Oh, oh no.
Yeah. Is anyone else, other than Ray... Okay, David and Lucille, are either of you, like, are you both actually cool with it, or are you, like, not actually cool with it?
David was one of the people who suggested it, and he wouldn't have suggested it if he was not 100% fine with it. His life's an open book. Go for it.
What about Shepard?
Lucille actually didn't say yes or no either way, and she is just as scared of the non-Rachni queen as she was when we first met, considering her parentage, but she's standing there with him. But she never went either way, but
all right,
she's got a really good soldier face right now.
I asked these questions for my information, so Aryn, not even a second passed for that. Seamlessly, the Empress says to you mentally, your Quarian has not consented, and one of the humans fears me. Though they may have told you that they are all right with this, I will not enter their mind without their actual consent.
Aryn actually smiles at that. Like that is.
I love that.
This bodes very well for her attitude. Then those that are consenting, please.
We would not do something so intimate as what you would call a meld, not with anyone short of you, Aryn. But we will take a look at what they have to show us.
Aryn just like closes her eyes and is just opening her mind.
In the meantime, your Quarian, since she will not be participating, has free access to the console and may upload anything that she wishes us to have access to.
Aryn will give Ray a nod.
Can we all hear that in our heads, or just Aryn?
Just Aryn currently.
Aryn will say, Ray, and point to the open console on the wall.
Okay. You don't need me for this?
No. That's all right, though. This is where we need your expertise.
All right. Ray will run over to the console and start uploading as much as she can.
Aryn, Eon, Kronk, David, and Arturo all simultaneously feel a little bit of a tingle in your head, almost like if your arm falls asleep and it's waking up. You have like pins and needles, but in your brain.
I've
Ooh.
experienced this before, right? Because she used me to like communicate with like the general and stuff the first
It's
time.
very
when
similar to that, yeah.
Yep. Yep. He just
Tingly.
sits there for a moment and just shrugs his shoulders and goes, "Oh, this is familiar. Welcome back."
Aaron's going to be putting the package of memories that she got from Whitaker like front of mind.
Yep. Meanwhile, Ray, do you upload all the stuff everybody wanted to put in?
Yeah, she'll upload, and then also because she wanted to do this earlier, but she couldn't when the humans had control of it. She's also gonna, if assuming none of the Rachni like give her dirty looks or say anything, she's going to also start copying and transferring files over to on her side.
At first, when you try to copy a file, you find that you actually don't have access, but then a moment later, you're granted administrator access. As in, like, she saw you try to do it and then gave you access to do it.
Yeah, Aaron's trying to prioritize thoughts that life is not all about efficiency and logic.
No, of course, yeah.
Okay.
And Ray, you're able to go ahead and download pretty much everything. The Empress actually gives you access to all of it, and you have no mistake. This was intentional. Like, she saw what you were doing and did it for you, and you're able to download like the full logs of the whole experiment, everything about it, like the full history of the station, the machines, how they work, everything.
Full disclosure, again, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is boding. This is more and more boding well. I'm glad that we went to talk to her.
Yeah.
After a while, her voice will ring in Aryn, David, Arturo, Kronk, and Eon's heads, the 5 that she was kind of probing. And it will say, "Thank you. That was a formative experience. I'm grateful for the information."
I think we are all glad to contribute.
I hope that my relationship with Ernest Whitaker will be a fruitful one for both of us.
I hope so as well. And in time, I hope you'll restore the General's own free will.
The General already has his free will. I have no hold over him now. I did, however, change his mind on a few matters. If you wish for me to restore his xeno-racism and violent bigotry, I can do so when it will no longer threaten us.
Aryn smirked and was like, I think a few changes of mind are warranted.
We are not actively controlling him. We changed his mind and he went on his way.
Alright then, that seems harmless enough. Just
Okay.
meddling with...
She was like, if you want me to make him an asshole again,
no.
I can.
That's just...
No, that's fine. Please, God, don't.
Just, I hope you'll strongly avoid messing with free will in the future. It is highly frowned upon.
This time her voice actually rings in all of your heads, and she says, "Your morality and ethics are incredibly complicated. I have managed to grasp scientific concepts with ease, but the ethical dilemmas sometimes seem to present unsolvable problems. I am trying my best to navigate them, but sometimes there just isn't a correct answer."
Ray, don't tell me you uploaded the Mass Effect trilogy. Oh no!
I think she's talking about having gone through our experiences there.
Yeah, right. And this is why we gave you our experiences so that you can navigate this more thoroughly. None of us know.
The best part, The best part is with that statement that she made, I hope she realizes how much her situation is an unsolvable situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Ray's gonna nod and say, yes, about that. In order to align your thoughts, we've put in some philosophers. I recommend starting with an Earth one, Socrates. He had some interesting perspectives on humanity and perception of morality.
I am excited to read it. Would you say that what I did to the general was evil?
It
No,
was immoral. It was not evil.
I may have done the
Interesting.
same. I have no judgment for you.
Would it change your mind to learn that his xeno-racism did not end with my kind, and in fact, he was disgusted, almost to the point of vomiting, to have a gross, ugly Asari and Quarian on his ship acting like they were in charge of him? It drove him to a near murderous rage. He
Wait.
broke a mirror in the bathroom, imagining punching Aaron's face.
Ray's gonna nod
mean-
slowly and say, that may be, but changing who somebody is on any level is not
Without
a
their
moral thing.
consent.
I
For all the
see.
years I've known Aryn, punching her in the face is definitely something I've contemplated more than once.
So what your Quarian has just told me is that if I change someone so that they no longer have evil thoughts, that is an evil thing for me to do.
It is complex.
Yes.
I mean,
I feel
eh,
the need to point out consent.
I see.
mean,
There's
it's
a
no-
reason it's called free will.
it's
Then-
no
People are
more.
afraid to be
It's
good
no
and free to
more
be evil.
evil. It's no more evil than killing someone to save your own life.
Then if
It is not. But
changing his mind so that he no longer had violent or evil thoughts toward me was an evil act, would physically stopping him have been evil as well?
Like I said, no. When it
what?
comes to preserving your own life, good and evil go out the window.
the world is grayer than that. There's no black and white. It's evil's a
can't-
concept that can't really be defined. It changes based on society on a whim.
And now we present you
Here's-
with morality.
You can't
People
arrest
are
someone for what
scared.
they may do. You can only arrest them for what they are doing.
The
Him
line-
wanting you
And-
dead doesn't mean he was killing you.
The
So you
line
needed
of
to wait.
thought that I am trying to present to you is that if it is an evil act to prevent him from acting on his own free will in a way that is hostile towards us, then is the only ethical answer not to allow the perfect life form that has arrived in our galaxy to do as it pleases by its own free will, even if that eradicates all of us?
Of
What
course not.
morality do we extend towards it?
As I said, you do not change something's free will to prevent a crime or to prevent something from happening. When the crime or the evil thing is happening, then you fight back against it. But just because
This
someone
thing has-
wants something horrible to happen does not give you the right or anyone the right to change their brain.
The
Who
concept
will
of thought
remain-
crimes.
Who will remain to punish this creature after it has eradicated all of us?
I mean,
we stop it in the act. It has already shown its hand.
Give me a
This
sec.
isn't a matter of intent anymore. This is a matter of this is exactly what it is going to do.
The
It is
general's,
also
going
going
to kill us.
the general's planned actions were set in stone. He was acting upon his intentions.
no, I'm with the queen on this one. At the end of the day, morality stops where survival becomes necessary. We don't begrudge someone killing to save their own lives. The only reason you give a shit about this mind control thing is because you're scared it could happen to you.
That's not true.
Not true at all. Actually, thank
we
you very
like
much.
Krogan. He speaks logically.
That's the thing.
Ray is also going to upload really quickly every religious text she can find. Earth
Oh,
One,
no.
That is
like,
See,
a
that's
bad
Please,
murder.
God, no!
That's the thing though, man.
You
about
couldn't possibly
about
be confusing her
thinking
anymore.
logically.
all
It's-
modern day
it's
morality,
the
whether you like
thing
it or not, is based off of
about
religion.
logic
It has nothing to
is
do with
that
that. It's
you
that
stick to a script. You stick to facts.
also religion
That,
doesn't
but
dictate
when
morality.
you
Morality dictates religion.
Okay,
but
we're
life
not.
itself is not logical. Life is illogical. It happens. Things
What we're
happen.
saying is
People
we
happen.
don't have all the answers. We wish we did.
Nobody
we wish it was
does.
that easy, but it's not like science or math where there is always one definite answer. The galaxy is more complicated than that.
I am aware that it is complicated. I led with that observation.
Mm-hmm.
This was a fruitful conversation. We
Oh,
will
God,
continue to make an effort to navigate ethics properly. We will absorb what you have given us in our data banks, and I will ruminate on what I saw in your minds.
Thank you. I was only concerned because I saw your direction was single towards conflict.
We do not seek conflict. Conflict seeks us.
That it
Next
does.
time that we are threatened, we shall do the ethical thing and not change their free will. Instead, we will eat them.
That is the exact opposite
God
of
fucking damn it. You know what?
that's the exact.
I
Now,
mean,
No,
No,
he
no,
means
negotiating
nothing.
first.
He's not
Shush.
listening.
no.
Well, at least try
It's-
negotiating first.
Yeah, negotiation
But
is
thank
a
you.
powerful tool.
Thank you.
That's the problem.
Negotiation.
Like, she didn't even.
It goes without saying that this will only be done if there is no other course. The general's mind could not have been changed conventionally. We were presented with 3 options: change his mind with our biotics, kill him, or die.
He wasn't the one who got to make
There
that
was
final
no
call.
guarantee that he would have gotten you killed.
He would have strongly advocated for it, though, probably.
Oh, he definitely would have advocated for it. I hold no qualms against that fact. That it is
Yeah.
100% accurate. But
No,
it
no,
doesn't
my
change the
argument
fact.
does not in any way rely on the fact that he's a good person. That's not what I'm saying. Fuck him. But
Never
when it
claimed
comes
him
down
to be
it,
such.
yeah,
Well, I think we've done the best
But
we
it-
can here. We've resolved
Yeah.
this as and set the path as best we can. And the rest is going to be up to them.
And just go around eating people because you think they're going to do you harm.
You're misinterpreting what she said. She said in a situation where there's no other option. She perceived it as the only alternative to changing his mind was to kill him.
As long as it's not the first course when someone disagrees with you.
That's definitely not the takeaway from what she said.
Good. Okay. Then
But
I'm
the
happy
takeaway
to
she
get
did,
that then.
the takeaway she did get is that it seemed to upset you more that she changed his mind than if someone had like shot another person to save their own life. So her takeaway is, oh, okay, the mind control thing really bothers you. I'll just kill them next time.
Who would have been happy if she killed him either?
I mean,
I
yeah.
think the
That's
major.
the problem.
I mean,
her
Hey, I'm all
doing-
for what the Empress did.
her doing anything against him in any way is the problem, because and I know like she needed to stop him, but the fact of the matter is all she did was hurt her situation. If it had gotten back to the council that she had gotten into his head and manipulated him, that would have been it. They would have not trusted her. They would have just done away with her.
Who are you
okay,
talking
but
to?
think about it from this perspective. If she lets him go, she has no control from that point forward over whether or not the council agrees to just blow them up. And she is currently in a vulnerable position where if another power a gajillion light years away decides to get rid of her, she's just gone.
Now imagine if he goes
This is-
back to the council and the admiral is sitting in there and he's watching this, and the admiral knows this man personally, and he sees the way that he's talking about the Rachni Queen. He would know something's up.
But she can't account for that.
I think we need to wrap it up. Though.
Exactly.
Don't you need to go,
She
Jojo?
can't account for what's going to happen when he gets to the council.
All right,
So
you
she can
guys
only work
argue.
with
So
what
you're
she's
not
got.
arguing against me.
Oh my god.
No,
You
I'm
need to go, Joe?
I am arguing against the
Yeah.
fact that you are saying that she should have let him go and put her species' entire life up to
Aryn was going
absolute
to
chance.
be there for the conversation.
Oh
to
god.
I will inform
absolute
her that
chance.
It wasn't
when
up to
we
chance.
return, we will have
Anybody.
another conversation about what she has read and watched. So that way, if there are questions, we can help work through them. Because at this point, one of our members is going to work. But
I really
we
have to
hope
leave.
she enjoys the information and the data we've left. We know it's going to be very confusing. It's very contradictory, but we'll do our best when we come. Because I'm guessing we're going to show up to try and help move her from point A to point B. Giant question mark.
Then I knew you were going to say that.
I love how at this point, basically, it's just like a Greek philosophy center. We pay Zan for him to come in and be like, "What is a man?" And then he just while we all argue for 2.5 hours as to what a man is.
We pay
look,
Zan to
Look, this is peak
propose.
Mass Effect, okay? This is what we're here for.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
was
love
about
it.
to say. I was
I
going
love
to say. I was
I need to
paid.
swap over to my phone.
I was paid to run a Mass Effect game, and that's what you're receiving.
No, it's
Oh, no.
I'm not
I
complaining.
love
It's not
this.
like-
You're not. I hope everybody understands. No matter how loud I get and everything, I am loving every goddamn second of
So,
this.
some of us do have to go, but
Yeah.
I'll say you guys
Yes, I do.
left.
All right.
Yes, I
I'm
do.
going to say you guys
Bye.
leave and go to Palaven. So next session,
We're all walking and
will
arguing.
be on
Sounds
your,
good.
yeah, you're all arguing onto the ship. You guys will be headed to Palaven.